why is it symmetrical or why is it 23.4? Like 23.4, yeah. Well, 23.4 is like 1/3 of 90. So it does seem like the sun goes, if you're talking about the two poles, it goes like 1/3 of the way, to, well, roughly 1/3.
The moon is doing that due to his orbit, who is not in ecliptic, that it adds 5.8 degree. It goes almost to 30 degree, 1/3 of 90 degree. But even when you are playing, for example, with a rock at the end of a rope and you make it turn, due to the force that is involved, I don't see how physically you can have a symmetry between north and south of the equator. It should be less in the south than in the north to have the same work of the force who are in action to make the sun to physically distribute the work equally between the two hemispheres.
Dude, I'm really sorry. I don't know if anyone can help translate. I was trying to listen. I don't know. Did you understand him? Pure rigor?
No, not even a little.
Probably a little bit.
Work. He said
Matthew, anyone?
You have the work. The work is a force over time. That is the work. The work. The work.
Work?
Yeah, the work. Yeah.
Oh.
The work is force over time, he said. So what say it again, Nico. What about it? What about the work?
What about it? Because the sun passes 6 months north, 6 months south. And for the amount travel at the speed it travel in a south over flat Earth, the work will be more than the work that is made in north hemisphere. Yeah. So
right,
I don't see a physical reason to have the symmetry of it.
Okay. Are you okay? I think I maybe know what you're saying. Are you referring to like an azimuthal equidistant Gleason's map? Is that what you're calling flat Earth? Let's start there. Is that what you're calling a flat Earth?
I don't call it. I know the AE map is not no more a model for flat Earth. So apparently there is no more kind of map for flat Earth. But you still use 23.5 degree, 23.5 degree on flat Earth. So I assume you distribute on a radius of Earth all the degree. So same distance from 0 to 90 is at 290 to 0 south, and that the 23.5 are equally distributed on each side.
Well, I'll just say that, I have never been someone that has claimed that the Earth is the AE map, like with the one pole and then the concentric circles. We've talked about it over the years, and it has been useful for tracking the sun and other things in the north. There's always been the question of the stars in the south with the AE map, and also the sun rising south of east and setting south of west. Like the sun arcs the other way in the south when it's the summertime in the south. So it's not making the concentric circle pattern that the AE map does. It's doing the opposite. It arcs the other way, in the south. So anyways, but I've never been someone that like has, put my assertions that it is an AE map. If you look in the chat, New Perspective posted a few layouts that you've probably seen them of a dual pole kind of layout where you have the continents in kind of 4 quadrants and you have the 2 poles. So my view, I have not mapped the entire Earth, so I wouldn't be able to say that I have modeled it myself or mapped it myself. So I just have to be intellectually honest with myself that I have certain limited information, as we all do. and in terms of what the totality of the whole Earth is. I also think there's like a very genuine unfolding that's happening in humanity in terms of what the Earth is. I know that if you may believe it's a globe, that's understandable. And if you think you found the truth, I hear you. I don't think it is a globe. So I think that what the Earth actually is what we need to discover essentially. And, you have the AE map, which was kind of presented to people in various ways. And it's kind of been, kind of the materials that were kind of given to, in a way, flat earthers. It's like when people started questioning the globe, like there was that AE map, right there, kind of being presented to people. So it sounds like your question, I know that's kind of a lot to preface to respond to you, but it sounds like you're referring to like the AE map having the issue with the sun having to go faster in the south and do more work, like you were saying. But if you have a layout of a planar Earth with two poles that are more or less equal, then that would be why there's symmetry. And when you look at like an electric field, like the electric field lines, and oh yeah, New Perspective just posted a bunch of them. This is like a universal pattern in nature, the way that, this kind of dual vortex pattern that happens throughout all of nature, with like wind patterns, with water patterns, even in a river as water flows, you get the clockwise and counterclockwise rotation of the little whirlpool vortexes, the electric field, toroidal field. So you have all of these patterns in nature, just electromagnetism and so on. So that shows a symmetry of two poles and so on. So the fact that the stars seem to match what an electric field pattern is, I think is very compelling. But what the actual model is and the full layout of the land is would be a whole nother question. But I mean, in terms of the symmetry, if the sky, whatever the land is, if we set that aside, however the land's laid out, if the sky is functioning like all those images New Perspective just posted, if it's functioning in this two-pole fashion, which is what we see, then you would have symmetry with the sun in the north and south, as well as with the stars.
Okay. So to answer first, the map you show is a AE map also, with not centered on North Pole or South Pole. It is centered on 00 latitude longitude of it. It is still an AE map. So that will still have a problem in the Pacific for the ships to go some way, and they will kind of reappear on the other side of the map. So this map is still a AE map. After, when you set the toroidal field, you will have your field will be like perpendicular to the surface. When you use a magnetic dip compass, you will see that at the equator, the magnetic field is parallel. And only when you go to the magnetic poles, you will have the magnetic dip going almost vertical. So this toroid or this map do not expect what we can physically see in reality. But it's a good attempt.
I'm really sorry, man. I really want to hear what you're saying, but I'm having a hard time working out. We could go through it slower, or if anyone else could help translate. I'm really sorry. Maybe I'm not as good with the French accent to be able to fully pick up.
In here.
Yeah, I think New Perspective. He's listening. He should come in. He's the French whisperer because he remember that guy, the Beast, Lebet. I had a hard time understanding.
He's a French tickler.
But New Perspective was totally able to understand Lebet, and he was French. But well, the thing is, this type of dual pole layout, it's not an AE. It's actually an AEA. It's an azimuthal equal area projection. So instead of an azimuthal equidistant, it's an azimuthal equal area. And so the equator is the center, and then you have equal area portions in the north and south, like the globe has, sort of, with the two hemispheres, although this is on a flat plane. And then Antarctica remains a continent with the coordinate system as they describe it on a globe. And then instead of on the AE map, Antarctica is the ring around the outside, but on the AEA map, if we were to call it that, the azimuthal equal area, the Pacific Ocean ends up being the ring around the outside, which I think that term Pacific Rim is kind of interesting how that term is used. So the Pacific Rim ends up being the outside. But Nico, did you want to try to describe what you were saying again? I'm really sorry. I'll try to listen really intently. But I don't know if I was able. I don't know if I'm responding. I'm just responding to you were saying it's an AE, and I was just saying it's actually it's an azimuthal equal area. And learn share your hot mic in as well.
Say it
Yeah.
again, Nico. I'll try to listen to help. I can understand him pretty good.
Okay. So I will correct. So azimuthal equal area. So what is the use of it? For example, to map the angle to Polaris. That it is still working. The 1 degree per 1 degree latitude move from the North Pole.
Yeah. What about it though? Like
Basic things we can all verify. Polaris 69 miles per degree is still working on this map.
On the AEA, yeah.
yeah, Joe. He's saying is the 69 miles per degree still work on the AEA map?
Yeah. I think I'm understanding. He's saying elevation angles to Polaris. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, again, I haven't mapped the entire Earth. I've only, traveled to. I have been to the south, but I have not traveled all around the Earth. So I mean, I can't provide all the answers. Unfortunately, I wish I could, and someday I hope to be able to. But at the moment, But yeah, I mean, I haven't tested 1 degree per 69 miles myself. All the way through the spectrum. I do, have some questions about it, especially when you get close, to the equator or close to the North Pole. But I mean, essentially, what this dual pole is it's like two AE maps. You have an AE map of the north and an AE map of the south. The thing is, they blend at the equator, so you would have sort of a blending that would occur where the straight line is at the equator. But I mean, if you have like an AE type map of the north, it would, and then another AE map of the south, and then they're both on a plane. So, but yeah, I mean, the 1 degree per 69 miles and elevation angles to Polaris, I think is likely to be involved. Or, like I said, though, I haven't measured it all the way through the spectrum, but and then if that also occurs in the south, from Sigma Octantis, 1 degree per 69. But I would want to verify that. So I couldn't tell you 100% unless I was able to verify it myself.
A bit of a Mobius strip thing going on there, maybe?
I mean, the thing about, sort of, it does sort of have a Mobius, like a toroidal field can have a Mobius kind of feature structure to it. But I mean, the 1 degree per 69 ends up being the 6,210 miles from the equator to the North Pole, or from the equator to the South Pole, the 6,210 miles number, or it's, what is it, like 10,000 kilometers? So that distance, I would think, would be hard to fake because you can travel from the equator all the way to like 80 north, like you could go up through Canada or, et cetera, and you could measure that somewhat independently. And you could get like, over 5,000 miles of that 6,000 mile stretch, if you're going to go all the way to 80 north. And then obviously those guys went to Antarctica, they went to 80 south. Now that does take an airplane. You can't really like travel easily yourself. So you do have to kind of depend on an airplane for the measurement. But yeah, I mean, basically that 1 degree per 69 miles would have to break down because when you get to the equator, you can no longer see Polaris. So yeah, so I mean, that distance I would think is likely the case, the 6,210 miles, which would break down to 90 degrees, 69 miles per degree to get the 6,210.
I'm looking at what New Perspective is posting.
Yeah, I mean, Nico, have you considered that? Like, I mean, do you question the globe? Are you like 100% that it's a globe, or do you question it? And then my second part was going to be, if you question the globe, would you know? If the Earth, if, in your perspective, if you consider if the Earth is actually planar, stationary, as our ancient ancestors have thought since the dawn of time, etc., and that the globe is not actually the truth, have you then considered that the Gleason's AE map could also be a deception, which leaves us with like the third option of what is the actual Earth and getting to what the actual truth is? I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
No, it is a globe. I have questioned the globe like I have questioned the flat Earth. The globe is holding everything. Flat Earth have not been able to verify anything. Being working in the marine industry, I know little bit about boats, and I can do celestial navigation also as well. I have never seen any argument that was holding the globe at fault. When flat Earth do not. Like you take New Perspective with this magnetic field, it did not address the magnetic dip. You can have a compass to get the north and south, but also you have a kind of special compass who measures the dip vertically of the magnetic field. And all what he show vertical line of magnetism, when in reality you will see that they are mostly horizontal.
No, well, have you seen? I'm grabbing an image real quick.
That is the main things I have against the toroidal ID, is that it does not show what you can verify by yourself about the magnetic dip of the Earth's magnetic field.
No, I know what you're talking about, the magnetic dip compass and the magnetic dip at the poles. But I was going to post this. Are you familiar with flat coil in terms of a magnetic pattern, magnetic field? So it would actually, if you have this field over a flat plane, you would get a dip at the poles. The way the magnetic field would go, like it's on a flat plane, but it would go in at the poles essentially and through, the way that shows there what I just posted. So I hear what you're saying though, but I just don't think that's exclusive to a globe. I think that could be the case on a flat plane, that as you get closer to the pole, it actually will it will actually start to dip. Like the magnetic field will angle will start to tilt inwards.
But your flat coil, or is it show only one slice of the magnetic field? It's still a toroid magnetic field, your flat coil.
Or like this one kind of shows it too. That you would have there would be an arc involved. I'm just saying I don't think that's exclusive to a globe. I mean, how it all works is a question. I hear why one would think that as the magnetic, what we're talking about is when you get closer to the poles, there's like a vertical dip of the magnetic field, which is what a magnetic dip compass, which apparently MC Toon said that he took one to Antarctica, but I think some people were asking for like the evidence of it. And I think, was that the thing that Rusted Soul was saying, that like he only said that he has it in a diary written down, and there's like no footage of him showing the results of it? I'm not sure on that. I don't think I've ever seen, unless I missed it, but because he bought that magnetic dip compass, right? It was like an expensive compass. It had a nice wooden case. He took it all the way there. Nico, have you seen his results? I mean,
No,
Have you
no,
seen-
no, no, no. I didn't see or heard about that before. But I follow TFE quite far away. So they did their things there. They did many experiments. But I didn't know. I know about the scale. I know about the solar mass. What is the name in English? The sundial. The sundial they did. All the footage they did.
Wow.
But I didn't know they bring a magnetic dick compass.
Well,
yeah,
you've heard of.
I'm-
Okay, go ahead, Gio.
No, just MC Toon specifically bought like a nice magnetic dip compass. He showed it on his stream before he went. I just didn't see video. Maybe he didn't get good readings, and so he didn't want to film it. I don't know. I mean, you may have to be closer to the pole to get much with that thing. You might have to really get in and around the pole, and in 85, 86, 87 degrees, and really, you might have to really have a research team, to really hash out the magnetic dip effect around the pole. Plus the pole is like out in the ocean, they claim, the actual magnetic pole. So you'd have to be way further from where Union Glacier is. So I don't know what he got, from Union Glacier with that magnetic dip compass. But yeah, he says he bought one. He had this nice wooden case for it. I don't know how much it was, probably a few $100s or something. And I think he took it, but I didn't see the results. But I just brought it up because you were mentioning the magnetic dip. But my point is that I don't think that's exclusive to a globe at all. Like those magnetic fields I was showing there, that it would be expected that on a flat plane, if you have a rotating magnetic field like that, at the poles, you would have a vertical effect as it kind of goes like potentially in through the ground and up around the other side kind of thing through the flat plane, if it functions like that. Similar to what they claim it does on a globe, but it's just you don't have curvature. It's just on a flat surface.
Cole, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just making sure Gio understood what you said, but he did, so I didn't have to.
Okay. Last thing is that is history. A few weeks ago, there were discussion around here about trough. I don't know if I pronounce correctly. Trough experiment. Is it still ongoing? The guys will still want to do that?
Place people like NASA that are playing all sorts of weird tricks on us. For example, showing us people floating around on an ISS, but they're all doing it with green screens and blue screens and wires. So you think that the people that have the ability to be able to confirm and make everybody understand that, yep, this is the truth. Why are this group of people, for example, not not trustworthy? Why are these people coming across as extremely dodgy, to say the least?
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of things in science, especially and I'm losing faith, a lot more faith than I had when I first started talking to you guys. For example, in areas of the aliens and these UFOs and things, the government is hiding things. There's people that are coming out now telling they've seen things that aren't being released. There's this technology that we have access, or we've discovered, that may not be from this world. I mean, it's getting pretty sketchy now, and I'm starting to lose faith in the fact that the government has been hiding a lot of stuff from us. I don't think they're hiding the shape of the Earth. That's your position. But if they're hiding this, they could hide other things too. And so, yeah, I'm not 100% with the government these days. So I'm not with you.
If it is a ball,
I'm not with you, but I'm not
if it
that
is a
far against
ball,
you either.
even if it is a ball, do you think that they could be hiding more land, like a portion of the maybe the Indian or Pacific Ocean? Do you think it's possible even the North and South there could be another continent somewhere that they're hiding in, and that's why some of the Google Earth stuff is kind of all like very suspiciously sort of like
I think they can find
blurred out.
I think they
type
can
of
find
thing.
I think they can find anomalous land masses, and then maybe they've hidden certain things. But I think to hide like continents with all the privateers that have and all the historical records of people that have traversed the oceans, I just think they would have found something like a whole entire continent. I think it's a little bit of a stretch to think that there's a continent missing that they've hidden from us. But there could certainly be other things missing, and there might be a whole other level of conspiracy that I'm not aware of that is operating to, to you know do things with our health and with the water and the air and the chemicals and bioengineering
So
and
there is
all
an
this. I
element
think
of
there's a lot of stuff
distrust.
I don't trust. Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't trust right
You're
now.
on like a level, like a class 101 of distrust, right? You've passed that test. What about class 202? You're not there yet.
Not there yet. Not yet. I think, and the reason I'm there, I think I probably wouldn't even. I would have dropped out of that class to begin with if it wasn't for what I've heard. Even though I know there's some, conspiracies and there's some, there's bad actors in government, without question. With the money and with all the power and et cetera. But the thing with the aliens is blowing my mind. The fact that all these people are coming out, these noteworthy and credible witnesses and testimonies are being brought forth that show that there's there's things being hidden on a massive scale that this is beyond even the executive branch of the government's control. The president has not even purview to this. It's like they're trying to protect us from ourselves. It's almost like the Constitution that was written that we cannot break. There's someone or some group involved that is above the president that is making sure certain things are not for general consumption, and I think that's pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real appeal to like authority or whatever. Like I used to have the same type of feeling about people like Richard Hoagland, because he was a contractor for NASA or something, and he had such experience and connections, and that's why he was talking about the face on Mars. And before Flat Earth came out, everybody was like suspicious that there was a black budget sort of a program where they were secretly going to a base and a breakaway civilization, all of that. But now we know that even people in positions like that are not truthful.
Are you talking about what do you think about jump room technology, Zanick? Is that in the wheelhouse of all this?
That's spicy.
Bouncy house?
No, I mean, you're talking about aliens, alien technology. This is apparently that's basically portal technology.
Yeah, I mean, how do these things that we see, how are they doing the things that we're seeing them do? How is these things moving through the atmosphere and through water seamlessly, like everything's a superfluid to them? How do they make right angle turns and not, and defy known laws of physics? Thousands of G's expended for the moves to make. How are those things happening when eyewitness testimony is showing us that we're seeing it, and they also have evidence of not only the beings but the ships themselves that they can't show pictures of, but they're admitting that they exist. And these are, I mean, not just one or two. There's 10 super top level government officials that are now coming forward saying that that stuff's being kept from us.
I don't know what you're playing at here.
Believe me, I was way on the other side of this. Now I'm starting to because some smart, very intelligent friends of mine are coming through with their ideas and what they've seen and heard and what they've actually heard these people say. And they're starting to say, you know what, there's something going on here that is beyond our knowledge, that's going to be beyond our physics, portals, whatever it's taken for them to visit us. If they're alien, I don't believe in aliens. I don't think they exist, but there's a lot of this.
I feel like this is an extended dodge, but I'm with it. It's fun. I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess hopefully we'll see eventually whether these.
Well, if you don't think they're aliens, what do you think they are?
It could be time travelers, people from our future, showing that we made it.
Yeah, welcome to my 1990s reality. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if this really counts for questioning things, but I guess we'll pencil it in there. I don't know if it really counts though, because this is also a completely narrative that is going on. I mean, you got Project Bluebeam, and it plays into the globe thing and aliens, and they're coming to get us, and New World Order.
You're making
all that.
bold claims on crafts and things, and so you show me some pictures, man, or else you're just ancient aliens.
Me or
Yeah. You.
oh,
make-
they're talking about it. These are credible sources that said, yeah, they've seen it. It's being covered up. It's being hidden from us. There's a secret like organization that's basically protecting us from or actually protecting these technologies from getting, if they do have them, from getting out to the Russians, or well, we had the advantage with the nuclear bombs back in the day. Whoever gets new to this technology will be another 100-year advantage, technology-wise in the future, and they can use it for controlling us, warring with us, whatever. They're saying this. These are government officials. These aren't like kids or people that haven't been around the block a few times. These are admirals and technology people and high-level government officials that are now admitting that they have seen these things. I tend to somewhat have to believe them a little bit. It makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if there is. It makes sense too. Like if this stuff did exist, and they couldn't just tell everybody because the Russians could get a hold of it, or our enemies could get a hold of it, and they're keeping us from our protected by being secretive and by covering the stuff up. Then I kind of get that too, but that's pretty scary.
They would go as far as to kill a president right in front of everybody's eyes. And you think that these people that are far less important than the president can say what they want without repercussions?
Because it was set up to be almost like the Constitution. It's like this organization, I think, was set up, and that is not under the guidance or purview of the president, and they do what they need with the.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is
Yeah.
these people are coming out and supposedly saying stuff that they're not supposed to say, right?
Right.
Yeah, but we've all seen a president die in front of all of us, and nothing came of that. So what do you think these people who are
Well, maybe
significantly
that's
less
proof that
important?
maybe that's proof that that's successful, because right now the fact that Trump doesn't know about anything, or any other president that's been involved and knows anything, they don't feel a need to. Maybe he knew, maybe he did know. Maybe he knew something, and that's why he's gone. Maybe that's how powerful they are. I do not know. I'm going to say right here, so everyone can hear me. I do not know. I've just heard the testimony from a lot of top officials that are saying these things are true, and I can't imagine why they'd be lying. And the things that they're saying and they have some photographic evidence and video evidence that is mind-boggling. Even if you put it in perspective of like relative velocities and things, some things they've shown either have been seriously doctored and are fake, or some technology does exist that we have no ability to even comprehend with our level of knowledge of physics.
Couldn't be a psyop, could it now?
Possible.
Couldn't be part of the alien agenda and the fake alien space force.
Like,
Maybe.
are there natural phenomena that these can be I don't know, they would fit in that classification, but I don't know, maybe they just don't look like that to us, or we can't understand how like the path of something like that can take those courses. I've seen stuff that like I'm sure like no human could be in there and survive moving around in the thing.
Me too. I have too, dude.
What was that? What'd you say, Gerald? Would meet you two what?
I have too. I have seen craft, or what looked like craft, in the sky that was making like 90-degree turns at incredibly fast rate of speed. That if you were a human inside that, your head would be splattered up against the wall. I mean,
you've seen this? You actually seen yourself?
Yeah.
Where did you see it?
In Arizona, specifically.
Just a clear blue sky. You see some craft, shiny looking thing that made a right angle turn or something.
It was at night, and it was doing more than just right angle turns. It was making. I mean, I'd have to explain the thing more fully, but what I saw was at night, and it was.
Did it have lights on it or something?
It did, yeah.
So maybe it was a drone or something, and it was closer to you than you thought it was, and so those turns were pretty normal for a drone to make. I mean, I'm not doubting. I'm just saying.
I saw something that looked like a star, and it was zipping the fuck across, but it was moving from side to side also, like it couldn't go straight. Like it was hitting It looked like it was hitting turbulence, but I don't know. Whatever, it could have been refraction or gravity. That shit was going faster than I've ever seen anything move in the sky, and then it stopped.
Yeah, well, that's
complete stop, and then it just drifted like casually off. Like, oh, I'm just going to saunter over here and drift out. But Yeah, no beings on that would have, even if they're wearing seatbelts and helmets.
Well, no, if they're in some type of, they have theories about this, so they could be some kind of, time warp, some warp bubble that they are sitting in. Their environment's in a different time zone, so to speak, than we are. So things that they're doing are accelerated or slowed down compared to what we see in our
They're
time.
beating your reference frames somehow.
It's all reference frames. You see, it's all relative. They're in there. It's all stationary. They're just chill, but they're actually.
Well, if there's nobody in there, then no one's dying and having a head switch. But there is somebody in there, then some has to be some explanation. Plus, we have to explain why something can move. What they said, 30,000. Hold on, 30,000 miles an hour through the atmosphere. We know anything we know of would be, incinerated instantly at that speed. There's no way the air itself would turn into plasma. It's not possible.
They must not be
yet
moving.
They saw them.
They're probably just acting stationary and then letting the Earth move.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's 2,000 miles.
In your idea, yeah. At the rotation.
Come on, aliens are like 8 steps away from the bottom of the rabbit hole.
They're controlling the globe from their craft. Actually, they have a little joystick, and they're just stationary. No, but dude, I mean, I could get into my observation, but I don't really have to. But what I saw, it was not just a drone at a closer distance, but nonetheless, whatever it was. I mean, dude, I was joking before about it all being a psyop. I've been partly joking because there could be various things. Like there's the outer space idea and all that with the globe and stuff, but there's even other ideas. Like, first of all, there could be clandestine groups that either have these crafts from ancient times or previous civilizations, or even if you don't go the outer space thing, like there could actually be like hidden technology that's happening at a certain level, and then they do fly these things around and then they freak people out with them. I mean, there's even that idea. There's even another idea that there could be other types of beings that are not like from outer space on a globe, but even like the idea of extraterrestrial, like just horizontal across the plane. Maybe there's a whole nother sun system, across the plane where there could be all kinds of other beings and things. There's that. And there's even like the whole spiritual component too, like interdimensional, either beings or different spirits or different, types of phenomenon that could be happening in the sky as well. Like there's a whole nother angle to where they're not really coming from extra land. They're not really coming from globe outer space, but that they're coming like through the firmament or through the spiritual membrane above us, or, something of that nature too. I'm just throwing out like the possibilities of all different things. So like, I'm not really like throwing out the whole phenomenon, because what I saw was pretty intense, and like, did not fit with any other physics I've ever observed in the sky. So it is interesting what's going on.
Sorry, I was muted. So what do you think these things are? When all these top officials are saying these things and they're coming out and they're risking their lives in some cases to do this, because we don't know who's in charge and what it's all about. What do you think these things are? What do you really? I wish someone from the other, like from Gem Server, would come in here and answer, because there's a lot of smart guys over there too. But everybody probably was like me until I started, looking a little deeper into it, and I'm kind of like, wow, this is very sus, as my kids would say.
Well, I don't know exactly what you're referring to. I mean, these phenomena have been observed for, whether you want to call them UFOs or what is it, UAP, and so on.
Yeah.
Oh no, what is that on
UAP?
Yeah. So unidentified aerial phenomenon or whatever. Yeah. So right. I'm just saying these have been occurring for years and years, even going back to the 80s, 90s. So yeah, it's a big question what they all are. Are they all the same phenomenon? Are they different? And I'm not really denying the phenomenon per se. I mean, whether they're coming from outer space on a globe thing is another thing. But there's even like precedents that maybe in ancient times, even there's like, there's like the old like cave drawings and things. So right. I don't know. It depends on I don't know what these guys are saying, the specific ones though, like what they're saying.
You look, there's a what was the it's on Netflix. No, it's not Netflix. It's on I had to pay for it to watch it. In fact, I didn't get a chance. I got kind of bored because it was more and more. I got so sick of all the testimonies. Like, yeah, I believe you. Everyone is saying this, but give me some substance. Like, what are you going to do about it? Who do you think it is? They just kept me getting more and more testimonies about. Yeah, I saw this, and he saw that, and I saw the writings, and I got into the files. I was in that lab. I was in that place of Area 51. I mean, but we didn't. I just got sick of hearing more and more people validating the same thing over. You know what I mean? You'd be doing the same thing, Gio, because I know you, but. There in this show, I can't remember the name of it, but it's on. You gotta pay for it. It's like pay for view or something. Maybe it's Netflix, but you gotta pay for it. I'll get the name of it. You can watch just the coming attractions thing of it, and that's enough. You would get as much out of the entire show that I paid $20 for by just watching this, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll get that and give it to you. But I just, I think you're right. They've been seeing this for years, but we've never seen all these top level officials come forward and say they saw, credible sources, multiple people all saw the same thing, aerial footage from these, from F-35s, but of course everything's so grainy and lousy, and this looks like a flying saucer, and this looks like a Tic Tac, and it's all blurry, and you don't have any references of the things around these things they're actually tracking with their radars. You know what I mean? It's more real now than it's ever been. Like, this is why, that's what turned me like, wow, this is, maybe they're just looking at a balloon and they're circling it so it looks like it's going fast. But they're claiming that these things are going, equivalent to 30,000 miles an hour type of velocities. And then they have a video of one going along the surface and then going into the water and popping out without even losing a step. Acting like this, like the medium is to them, it's just a superfluid.
Yeah. Well, when you're talking about like officials, that's always I'm
You trust them, yeah.
Of the office official.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying like official military dudes and whatnot. I'm just saying, dude, any narrative that they are promoting. I mean, unless you're saying it's like genuine, like these guys are actually genuinely. But I guess that's not really the combo.
Well,
You're saying more. What are they?
Like, it's pretty guarded
The official
information, Gio. Like, how do they just walk around? Say some stuff that they probably shouldn't say, and then wake up.
Right. They have. Yeah. They have like NDAs and all kinds of secrecy in the military. So yeah, if they're saying what they're saying, it's obviously like approved for public.
Well,
so then if it's approved for public, is it really some truth that they're on the cutting edge and we're following them? Like, wow, we're getting the latest, greatest, or is something else going on?
It's called Age of Disclosure. I think everyone here, if wants to talk about it briefly, it's only about a minute long, probably, should watch it and let me know what you think. And yeah, government officials, who are these people? How they let this happen? They leak it on purpose, maybe, just to kind of give people a little bit of keep them calm. I don't know what they're doing, and I just think you should.
Do you want to play it? It's a 1-minute trailer.
Yeah, I'll get the Age of Disclosure.
Do you want to play it, or do you want me to play it? Share it.
Yeah, you can play it. Let me get the link here. Here's the link. It's YouTube. Okay, boom, copy.
Yeah, in the 90s, we wanted the X Files to be released, and
here we go.
2025, we want the Epstein Files released.
I know. What do you think's gonna happen with the Epstein? Oh, let's talk about that later. But here's the thing, Zanick. I got it. Want to click on it and watch it together, or what do you want to do, Gio? You want to just copy that and
screen share?
Well,
like
if it's only a minute or whatever, you said it's even less than that.
Yeah, 30. I think it's like 30 seconds. This is that's not very long.
All right, no, I'll just share it. I've already got it kind of going here.
Okay.
Yeah, I can anyone who wants to, I'll share it on the live stream too. So anyone who wants to, here, let me change it. I guess it's called events. Let me change it to screen share.
Technology. You guys are the masters.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Might as well. If it's just 30 seconds, we'll play it. But yeah, this whole disclosure stuff, I mean, I definitely question it heavily, but nonetheless, if it's going to be stuff that's going to be happening more so in our world, which it probably will be, and you brought it up, so, and it's kind of making you think about it. All right, anyone who wants to join, yeah, just join the screen share thing. It's just 30 seconds. We'll watch it real quick. Hopefully it's sharing audio. Yeah, it is. All right, let's see if it works. Actually, I have to share it on the live stream too. So. Okay, we go.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
These retrievals included
Geo, still there?
non-humans.
I'm aware of at least 2 advanced non-human species.
The bodies recovered.
Yeah, hold on. I was playing.
Oh no! There's another one. The real one is 2 minutes long. That's the real one. Both of them are probably pretty good. You can do both of them. That'd be great.
Could everybody hear that? Because I was getting some crazy echo. That might just be some on my end.
I'm hearing a crazy echo right now, but I hear the video fine.
Is it echo right now, or because you're
it's on your end, yeah.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Oh wait,
It's like we're on some kind of weird echo.
Wait, I can fix that. Did it just fix it?
Test 1 2.
Yes.
What more echo? Give me.
I
need it now.
I think you fixed it.
I know why. It's because the screen share. Anyways, it's picking up the audio through the Discord. All right, it's fixed now. Do you have the 2-minute one? Yeah, because this one's really short.
Yeah, did you get the 2-minute one? That's maybe a minute later.
All right, I see it here.
Yeah, that's the main one. This one might be interesting too, but that's probably not the right one. This is the right one.
Echo.
Yep, good. I'm really interested to see what you guys think about this.
Is it still echoing, or did it fix it?
I think it fixed it.
I just miss it.
Oh, you want the echo back? All right.
It was really groovy for a second. Okay.
So wait, this is a movie, or is this on Netflix, or what is this?
Yeah, it's on Apple TV or Netflix or something. One of those pay.
All right, let's do it. 2.5 minutes. Yeah, let's go. Let's see what they got.
All right. No audio.
Wait, now there's no audio. All right, hold on.
In this room somewhere.
That looked like the last.
Do you have to have the? All right, it might be echo. Just
yes.
Oh my god,
love it.
Wait, is that the only way to get the audio to work? All right, hold on. No one talk for a second. See if maybe it is.
Only intelligence in the universe.
All right. I guess that.
Let's be quiet. Let's watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the echo is all right. Just Well, there might be a way to fix that, but okay. We'll start it now. Yeah, because actually muting the Discord somehow muted the
thing.
I don't know why it's doing that, but all right, let's just do it, and then maybe if just no one talks, we'll be fine. All right, 2.5 minutes. Let's go.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species. We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists. UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
The 1-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon. For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic. We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans. I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
So look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis. But that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
What else you want to know?
Hey, Gio, before you stop sharing, can you play the one I just sent you DM of? Just the first 2 minutes of that one?
Dude, that is like Project Bluebeam programming to the max right there. Like, wow, that was
There
thick.
are so many yeah.
You guys see how the Earth was a globe?
Out of pounders.
Pretty intense, right?
Well, so what's interesting there was like you got like guys that were in the government 30 or so odd years ago, and they were knowingly, but that's when they were gaslighting everyone about this whole UFO thing, calling those people crazy. And so those people were in the government at the time, actively studying this phenomenon, and then watching as the media was telling everyone that anyone who believes that they saw a UFO is nuts. That's just weird.
Almost like confirmation.
This is from 2001. This is what this guy. So these are all ex-government officials that think that the Americans need to know about aliens back in 2001. Listen to what he says. I don't know. You're gonna play it, yeah, he talks about 57 different species living amongst us, but they just can't figure out how they would come from another planet that far away with with different atmosphere and everything. Because he says the 57 different species look just like us. How do they know there's 57 different species then, right?
Yeah, well, they're way ahead of the game, and you're just playing catch up.
Dude, that was, I know, but Ricksky, what you just said, dude, that is interesting how it's like, 30, what were you saying? Like 30 years ago, they would call you a kooky conspiracy theorist, wacko, whatever, like all the programming against that. And then now to like shift it to where like, this is the most cutting edge and we're revealing it to the people. And like, is that what you were saying? Like just the huge, like gaslighting psyop they did in terms of that?
And Marco Rubio just stated that the president was operating on a need-to-know basis. So anyone that's believed in the last 30 to 40 years that that high point of office is the highest point in the land, go check yourself, because apparently he's on an even need-to-know basis on this. So who sits above that guy? Who can tell the president what they can and cannot know?
If Marco Rubio is pro this, I feel like it's my patriotic duty to support aliens.
Rubio.
Dude,
Are you gonna play this one, Gio? It's not long either. But just listen to what he says. And I think he's setting this up for the Outer Ponders. And so is this other op, possibly, with the flat earth. Like they're gonna disclose the flat earth and say it's Outer Ponders and say it's ancient ancestors. Even though there probably are ancient ancestors living in Outer Ponds. Their version's gonna be a psyop, I think.
Dude, that last one, I hadn't seen that trailer. I mean, I know that there's been like more in the media. Maybe I'm not even up on like some of the kind of programming. That was like, dude, that almost looked like a movie, like an actual movie.
Yeah, like there's a full-on conspiracy movie, right? The coming attractions.
Yeah, and the fact that like and then they're throwing out all the credentials, 30 years into this, they're throwing out as if these are like the cutting edge guys. And dude, that is really setting up for like. Because I've been saying, like, are they really going to do a fake alien invasion? Like, how would they pull it off, Now, granted, that was just like a show or whatever that is, a documentary thing. And they may not run that, like, right on the morning news or whatever. But, dude, it looks like they could.
Gio, what if it's gonna be something like COVID? Like they'll make something happen. Could be like a nuclear bomb or something. They'll say, "Oh, they landed, and everyone stay home, and don't go to work anymore for like the same like with COVID. Till we get this under control." And then they'll get it under control, and they'll give money to everybody to help them out, and they'll raise the national debt to another $20 trillion. And like it could be, it's like in their master plan. That was the warm up. COVID was the warm up for this next big one, which will really lock us all down and make us all like just.
Wait, Zanick, you sound like a conspiracy theorist. You sound like you sound like you think the government's doing this to fake people out so they can control them. Is that what you think?
Could, if it's not real, like, well, Gio's talking about it being a setup, and maybe this fall on like a psyop type of thing. Who knows?
That's what Werner von Braun said. Werner von Braun himself, the guy, started NASA essentially. I mean, one of the main. He said that the final card was going to be the fake alien invasion. Now, not to say that
impressive.
Trusted that he said that, but still, I mean, the whole Project Bluebeam thing. I mean, it's been in the mix.
Zanick, I'm sorry.
He also said Elon was going to take us to Mars, if I recall correctly.
Zanick, if you like this type of material, I think you would like the J.J. Abrams 4-part television documentary about UFOs called UFO.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on something.
No, but Zanick, that's the big question, though. Are they going to fake it, or okay? So the whole globe thing, obviously, like if globe were real, and I mean that's what what we just watched is heavily saturated. And of course, we're on a globe. Of course, there's outer space. These we've seen these other crafts. They're obviously coming from outer space because on a globe, where else are they going to come from? The center of the Earth or something? You know what I mean? Like they pretty much would have to be coming from, unless they're really coming from the core of the Earth or something. They'd be coming from outer space, so it has all that in there. But dude, that's what's so crazy about this. If they do pull off some huge psyop event, that's why the shape of the Earth is very important. Of what's true ultimately, because and maybe they even like if the TFE thing was timed and they're trying to crush everyone back into the globe or whatever, and they kind of pull like the AE map thing, whatever, to where it's like, anyways, to where like now like they want. But I'm just saying if they're gonna pull this off. But obviously the thing is, if it's all fake though, if they fake it, then yeah, like somebody would have. I mean, it'd be good if they question the globe to begin with realize that it's not real. Because who knows? Yeah, dude, they could use the directed energy weapons to like. Do all kinds of things that they might say it's aliens and we all have to unite under the New World Order. I mean, who knows? But I mean, that's what's been discussed for a while.
On that note, will you play the clip real quick that we're looking at? Because this kind of like this is something I want to comment on. Like if they're going to do outer space aliens, this doesn't add up.
Do you want me to play the whole 4 minutes or just a portion or?
Yeah, well, until he says the last part. Yeah, 4 minutes, whatever.
All right, guys. If you want to watch the screen share, we'll play this one too. No, I just thought we could comment on that last one, but I guess it's gonna end up being a longer discussion. Yeah.
And welcome to Flat Earth, Zanick. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to fake alien psyop on a non-globe. I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, when you put the echo back on, New Perspective needs to say "Welcome to Flat Earth" to Zanick again, just for the echo effect.
Yeah, I'll do it. Go ahead. Put it back on.
Oh, I love it.
Welcome to Flat Earth, Zanick.
All right.
Describe, for the echo effect.
Yeah, I'll do it. Go ahead. Put it back on.
Oh, I love it.
Welcome to Flat Earth, Zanick.
All right.
Welcome to Flat Earth, Zanick.
All right.
Describe what they look like.
I could, but it would probably take a whole lot of time. The reason I state that, when I got out in 1989, we had cataloged 57 different species. You have individuals that look very much like you and myself that could walk among us and you wouldn't even notice the difference, except for some of the things that they might be able to go ahead, even in a dark room, and touch an object and go ahead and identify what color that object might be. They would have a heightened sense of smell, sight, hearing. The situation is that you have various types of what we normally call grays. We didn't call them grays in the military, but you had at least 3 types of the grays. You had some that were much taller than we were. The unique thing that I'd like to point out for the most part is that the entities that we did catalog were in fact humanoid. Now this created a situation where the scientific community was trying to figure out why that would be the case, because you would expect that if life evolved on other planets that they would take on some type of other being, so to speak, not necessarily look humanoid or be bipedal such as we are. But apparently we got quite a few of the species out there that are humanoid in appearance, and that creates a question that yet has to be answered by science.
Yes, and as I call on you, please state the news agency that you were with. Yes, ma'am.
As a body spiritual expert.
Deanne Divis with United Press International. Could you please address the vehicle that there was a drawing displayed of? Why was this vehicle be on display at an air show? What is the power source that you are asserting is going to be so very useful? And how can you determine that this vehicle is not something that is being developed, by a government agency?
In fact, I think that was the testimony. This is an alien reproduction vehicle, and just to be clear, this means that it is based on advanced anti-gravity and zero-point energy propulsion systems. Those are the propulsion systems. They are being manufactured by a consortium of companies that include Lockheed Martin, Northrop, SAIC, and other corporations. They do have superluminal capacity, in other words, faster than the speed of light capacity. I think Mr. McCandlish and other witnesses that he's identified could go into more of the technical physics of it. I'm just a country doctor from Virginia, I tell people. I mean, really. And but this is actually what is the reason it's called alien reproduction vehicle is that it's based on the study of extraterrestrial vehicles, but it is manufactured by human military intelligence, aerospace contracting arrangements. And this is very important. It means that we, Homo sapiens, have the ability to access this so-called zero-point field of energy, which is the ambient field of energy from which all matter and energy is fluxing, and can access that energy and generate all the power we need to run this planet without fossil fuels or pollution.
Do you have any direct evidence, though, that this, I mean, we're talking about the same government that's so appropriately named as a snooper program carnivore. So just because it's named the alien reproduction vehicle, considering the history and the questions that have been existing for such a long time about flying saucers, I mean, do you know, is there any direct reason to believe that this is actually derived from technology? Any of the witnesses who can attest to that? And how would this, a propulsion system, a rocket engine doesn't necessarily translate into electricity. Can you?
All right. So what's your take on that, Zanick? Do you think that was all staged? Think there's any truth to any of that?
Like it's interesting because it's like it's disclosure. That's David Allen Greer's project too, with the Zanick left or something. Maybe somebody left. Anyway,
I thought his name was Dr. Stephen Greer, if I recall correctly.
By the way, I'll post that one, guys. I'll post it. That was the one I just played. Anyone wants that? Yeah, that's that Stephen Greer guy. He's involved in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, like,
well, the first thing comes to mind there is, wow, that's 25 years ago, and they're talking about zero-point energy, and they're talking about this technology that we are constructing, vehicles, using them. So maybe it took 25 years for them to do it, and maybe those things that they've seen recently are a product of all these efforts 25 years later, if what he's saying is true.
Or the psyop is just they're like judging when when they can actually pull off the psyop. But the thing is if they ever do a fake alien invasion or whatever it is, and people will change their whole attitude about going to space. No one's going to want to go to space if they think there's alien ships up there. So forget the whole let's go to Mars thing if you're going to do that. Right?
Oh, you think that? Yeah, we've talked about that. They would like lock down space, basically. They would do a lockdown.
Yeah, it'd be the perfect excuse to say, "Oh, we can't do that because there's alien ships up there," or people just wouldn't dare to do it if they think they're going to like run into space aliens. You know, it just ruins that whole side.
Yeah, there are
That
actual
is
Martians.
such a good point, dude. That is such a good point. Go ahead, Snacks. Yeah, but like they've done like rovers to Mars, men to the moon, claimed whatever. But yeah, dude, if they were like, if they actually released something that there was like an alien threat, you're right. That would like just totally
And they
knock down.
they're like, you've been making incursions on our terrestrial like space and stuff like that. You guys are like, this is an act of war, you know, to Martians. You know, like Elon could be kicking off some shit. You know, you don't know what's going on.
Well, what I was saying about the outer ponders, if they do it as outer ponders, people can look at the outer ponders as ancient ancestors and not be as scared. And they could be good, like benevolent outer ponders that are going to help us. Then there's bad ones that we have to like look out for, but they're not everywhere. We got to contain, you know, like they could run all the narratives about those type of things. But if it's just an alien, it's like a space bug you want to squash, and you're scared of it no matter what.
I don't think they're going to say that they're traveling through space as we know it, because we know how far things are away from us according to the standard cosmological model.
Yeah, so what are they going to do? Like, just what they like?
There's portals.
You have to believe in. You have to believe in
speed. All these, Star Trek.
And all that.
We got to be portals. They're coming in somewhere. They're popping in, popping out.
Right.
Existence.
Right. They'll have to sell that part of it.
Maybe it's a loop. Maybe it's a bend around of space time that they can, find this portal, find this point where space is bent by some field that they generate, and they can then jump from galaxy to galaxy. They're not going to drive through, our solar system, traditionally like we would. They're going to come. They're just going to pop into the Earth.
Right. Well, it's much easier to do it as outer ponders, because then you could use humans as the actors, and they could just look human with like different kind of clothes, and you'd believe they're from the outer ponds. But if you do like space aliens, you have to like make it look like an alien that could think. Star Trek's one thing, but people are not going to buy it if it's some costume that with some dude, like some animatronic thing or some AI thing. They're just going to think it's a psyop.
Why would they think it's a hype if it's just some non-humanoid object?
Well, flat earthers will know it's a psyop, and there's millions of us now, so I hope they do it that way. I hope they just do it that way. I don't want them to do the outer ponder version, because it would be so much more useful. It's an immediate threat right outside our own pond.
Well, there's also a chance that, they've acquired this technology. They've been developing it because they have these ships and seen their propulsion systems for 25 years. What a head start. You not only have to invent it, not like us trying to get into the quantum physics thing that we've been developing, or nuclear fusion, something as simple, basic compared to this stuff. Nuclear fusion is like child's play to this technology. They're going to be developing that for the next 50 years and probably will get nowhere. Maybe for the next 100 they might make a breakthrough. But now this stuff, 25 years later, and they already have the product in their hand. They're just going to repackage it or redevelop it themselves. That could account for all these things they've been seeing. I'm just saying, maybe what we see today is true, and and they are made by our government agencies that have been developing it for the secret divisions of NASA and Northrop Grumman and Boeing or whoever, right?
But flat earthers know that the space thing's fake, so we're not going to ever buy that part of it.
Why do you have to hang your hat on the space being fake? It doesn't make your case.
Because we're not spinning and we're not on a planet. That's like,
what about
that?
What does it matter? What is we are a planet? Who cares? Why do you care if the Earth is flat or round? It doesn't really matter if that's and space is fake. Let's say it could be the Earth is round. You're right. Everything else is like these optical effects. But why does space have to be fake? Because
I'm not saying space is fake. I'm just saying that the whole narrative that we've been sold about space is definitely made up.
Why?
Well, can you show that there's any truth to it whatsoever? We can't. Dude, you want to get into a flat Earth argument right now? I'm just saying, like the whole.
It's a flat Earth argument.
You're not going to get flat Earthers on board if you use outer ponders. You could potentially have a lot of flat Earthers believing it too. Is all I'm saying.
What do you mean by outer ponders? I don't know that.
Meaning that since we know that we're on a stationary plane, and with maybe a firmament over our pond, there could be other ponds with their own firmaments or other lands within our own.
Gotcha.
Or maybe there's no firmament. There's just outer lands, And we're in
with the
quarantine.
You don't know about outer ponders like that, Zanick?
I didn't know that term. Yeah, I know what it means.
Well, it's it's just that there's like a
Other civilization.
undefined expanse of flatness where like flat plane Earths can happen upon a topology.
But there's no reason he can't have space, and he can't. There's no reason I can't go on to infinity.
Well, there's always up, you know.
Well, then if it's up and the higher you go, the more you get into space, and space goes on for who knows how far. But it doesn't mean there's have to be a firmament.
You can have planets there if you want.
Yeah, it's the same reasoning though. Once you realize that we're on a stationary plane, you still have the same reasoning. How could we be the only civilization? It could be infinite civilizations if it's an infinite plane. Same way you think about space, right?
Still be, yeah.
So, yeah, it's basically agreeing, just in a different way of stating it.
Well, not infinite. Yeah. We know certain things by the history of the Earth that we've had to have like at least 10, 1 out of a million chances things to happen. Example, we had to have this Jupiter to keep, absorbing some of the asteroids and meteors and materials that come in from the farther outer space. We had to have this moon. We had to have the moon for the tide. We have to have a certain distance from the sun. All these things are like 1 in a million. And if you add up 10 of them, that equals the number of stars in the observable universe. So maybe that's the reason why there's only one of us, because it's all these things that happen, all 1 in a million chances. Out of 10 of these things, all happened.
As a Star Trek episode, that's okay, but in reality, come on.
Well, but anyway, 57 races, and like there are everybody. What about the gray things, the gray beings, the
grays, or the lizard people?
So, no, he says that there's 3 types of gray aliens. One of is very tall. This comports a lot with the Whitley Strieber book, Communion. That whole series.
Mm-hmm.
So, are there like humanoid gray creatures out there?
Yes, that's what they say.
Are you saying like when you say reptilian, I think of like dragons or some shit, but I don't.
Maybe like Klingons, like Klingons or something.
What like a hairless raccoon is gray also. So.
Well, hey, I'm just trying to get us to talk and think about it. I have, my mind's kind of blown by these people that have admitted to this, and then of course with that 2001 video, that makes a little more, even makes more sense. In fact, I'm gonna send it to the guy who I think is one of the most smartest guys I know. I grew up with, and I was a roommate with him in college. He was also an Olympic athlete, and he's a fantastic businessman. He's also a very physics-oriented guy. I'm going to send him that video that you sent me, or that you guys were playing, because this will give him the feel to make the same conclusion I'm making. Maybe we have been working on it for 20, 25 plus years, and even though it's alien technology, we are developing it. It's not aliens that are arriving and doing things.
Hey, by the way, that Stephen Greer guy now is putting out videos saying they're going to fake an alien invasion. That same guy.
Yeah,
that
same
Stephen
guy.
Greer guy. Same guy is talking about
you guys were
faking
talking
an alien invasion
at the same time. Who?
Wait, is he? Because, dude, I saw that guy's been all into disclosure stuff, and it's interesting that he was in that video from that long ago, the one you were showing. That must have been when he was like early. I mean, some people think he might be like a shill or a plant or whatever.
Oh yeah,
but
the
guy that saying they're gonna fake it now, though. What? He's saying that.
Yeah, the Stephen Greer guy. The last thing I saw from him was, "Don't believe it. They're going to fake an alien invasion."
Really? And it wasn't AI? It was actually him saying it?
Yeah, he said they're going to fake a hostile alien invasion, and don't buy it. It's basically.
So there's going to be a real one, but they're going to fake one that's not the real one, but there is an actual one that's going on, that they're actually teaming up in the background or something?
Yeah, I think that's the angle.
It's a double-cross Mexican standoff. But what about the whole thing with like Stephen Greer and a micro alien, and they dissected the whole thing? Anybody see that thing?
The Atacama humanoid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I went years ago. I was at my friend's house. He's like, "Dude, you got to watch this," and he put it on his big screen TV, and we sat and that was one of them, the Stephen Greer, and it was this whole thing of this guy who had like been abducted many times, and he had all these stories about how he gets taken to these other planets and he comes back. Anyways, it was a whole thing that was.
Which one of the guys is Stephen Greer from the 2001 video you posted, or my video?
He's the young guy from the one.
I'm just a simple country
doctor. He's the guy that was like leading the whole disclosure project that was at the podium in the video I posted. Yeah.
The 2001 on the second part when the woman's asking the question, that's him.
Oh, okay. Not this bald guy that shows the picture of the screenshot when you posted it at 36 after the hour. Disclosure Project 57. Very.
It is that guy. Yeah.
That guy that looks like a Cho. Yeah.
He's got like his mullet. He's like bald and he's got a mullet.
Same guy.
But the first guy that was
like an
talking about
alien
57.
himself.
No, that's not Stephen Greer. Stephen Greer is the guy when the woman's asking the question, and he's up there. Just look him up.
The smart guy with the glasses.
I know. I looked him up.
He's way too smart
He's
for
the guy
his hair.
standing at the podium, not the guy that was saying there's 57 species.
But why does
the guy
at the end
directing
of
it.
57 species, why does that guy like purse his lip or bite sort of bite into his lip and then do a crazy lip lick?
Oh, I see him. The guy that was at the podium. Got it. Okay.
Like that kind of body language trigger really throws me. You know, when people
What are
do
you
like
saying that he's
wild,
doing?
he does like a wild tongue thing to cover up the fact that he just like bit his. He's something about that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, there's something wrong.
And the guy sitting behind him sketchy too. All close and weird. Like 57 different species that they've identified with no specifics about 57 different species. I mean, where's all that info now?
Playing catch up, you know, with this information.
I have something to add into this, and I am only going to postulate this in the sense of the same topic. Aliens, do they exist or not? And then also, are there species on Earth, like Bigfoot? Like, are these things provable, or is just hyperbole?
Oh, it's definitely a psyop, bro. It's all psyop.
They're saying it's provable. They don't have the bodies. They've seen them. They exist according to them. We're taking their word for it, but they exist. The technology exists. They're using it. All the governments of the world are trying to scramble and do things with the technology that they've acquired through landings or crashes of these AOPs.
All right, besides getting us in our houses like a lockdown, what if they were going to fake it? Let's say they're faking the alien invasion. Zanick, what do you think the reason for doing that would be? Like, why would they do that to us?
It's cheaper than going to the moon.
I don't think it's that important that we show that people aren't getting that restless knowing that we haven't gone to the moon in 50 years.
But it proves space.
Well,
You need it. We know space is real. Why does space, the acceptance of space, why do you have a problem with that with your particular model? I mean, he's taking out space
because
it's flat Earth.
Cosmogen.
Oh yeah,
you can still have space and have a flat Earth. I think ruling out space does not make your case any stronger.
Yeah, like I don't believe in planets. All right,
but Zanick, like, what's more likely, right? A false flag attack by aliens, or a new novel alien attack upon the Earth? Like, just so happens as we get into like spacefaring age, what's more likely?
Oh, they both sound like attacks.
I can't pick.
Oh no, well, one's authentic, right? It's new, it's novel, it's never happened before in any of the history of the context, right? But we've got sort of this idea of the Project Bluebeam, and then they're saying like, we're adapting our alien, like we found this alien technology which is undisclosed. Even the president doesn't get a look in on this stuff. Right. And I don't know, man, like the history, if history repeats and it's, there's a pattern to it, if anything, I would put my money on the fact that it's a false flag alien attack, because we've got so many false flags in history, not novel or alien attacks.
Yes,
we never really we haven't had any novel alien attacks as far as I'm aware.
If this Greer dude was a plant, then is it just more confusion to the pile then when him comes out and says beware this false alien attack?
I think it really the way that Zanick's coming at it from like a Cold War kind of perspective really ties the whole thing in a bow. It sets the whole room together.
Well, you reminded me of what Ronald Reagan said. He said, imagine if we were attacked by an outside force, how all of humanity would work together to fight a common enemy.
Basically, he said the quiet part out loud right there. Yeah.
But he also had like kind of patriotic music going in the background.
Yes, you got a little ambiance, man. if you'll notice, that short video that got played first had some ambient music as well.
Damn, I'm about to have some ambient music playing in my background.
So wait, Zanick, the thing you said before is that they would do this to distract from not going back to the moon. Is that what you said? That they would fake it, like, because New Perspective was saying, like, they would like maybe lock us down the way they all got us used to it with COVID, like what a lockdown is. And there's obviously various angles, but what did you say about the moon landing thing? You said someone said it was cheaper to go to.
Yeah, I think someone else mentioned that would allow them to take the pressure off of people pushing or being having an uneasy or unrest about us not going back to the moon. Like, what's going on? Why aren't we going back to the moon? Obviously, it costs money, but they still want us to go. This might shoot that down. Now we can't go because we have this problem, this risk that we don't want to take. I don't know. I didn't talk about not going to the moon because of that, though. I was making like a side note about that.
But can't you see that the Space Force being developed right about this time too is perfect to go along with the alien thing or outer ponders, whatever it is. Like that's
Dude,
like just for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they set up a military branch of the military that is Space Force.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would set. I mean, that would definitely be one of the things they would need in place.
Well, I just want to know why these guys are
set
so
up a
smart.
department of virology, and then all of a sudden we get pandemics, right? That sort of stuff is going on. Like they set up a department, and then a couple of decades later, all of a sudden, this is what we were preparing for all along. Off they go.
Yeah.
I got some more quiet part out loud.
Space Force has a lot to do with like cyber security in like a lot of these like telemetry based like tracking systems and stuff, I think. And also like NASA's like, I think that the head of the Air Force. So like Space Force would have to be under NASA.
Well, dude, what you just said about cybersecurity, what if another facet of this would be like the whole internet security? Like if we all have Wi-Fi and we're just blowing our internet everywhere with our cell phones, what if they come in with a thing where it's like, oh, the aliens can hack all your Wi-Fi. They can hack your cell phone. So you have to get on this new network, you have to get approved to get on some kind of new network that wouldn't be, I mean, this is a whole like maybe theory where they would like change the whole internet, where they'd be like, oh, the aliens have access to everything. So we have to put you on a whole new internet basically, and you have to get approved and it's all limited and you're not going to have the same social media access. I mean, I'm just speculating, just kind of thinking.
Back to paper, Geo. Back to magazines.
Or like that's kind of like the other idea that you had, Geo, where if it was outer ponders and they look just like us, everybody's got to get chipped so we can recognize that you're from here, not from out there. Otherwise, we won't know the difference. So we might zap you just like an outer ponder unless you get this chip.
That would be a crazy one too, yeah. Or to even get or the thing of like if they have smart cities in the future where they're like, okay, you have to come into the smart city to be protected from the aliens. We're gonna have a dome around you, basically a dome around the smart city that will protect you from the aliens. And then in order to get into the smart city, you have to have a chip or some kind of vaccine or both, or some kind of verification, the barcode tattoo, whatever it may be. Or like you're saying, some way, if they try to say that the aliens are just like humans and you have to get somehow, if you have a social security number, then you can, and you get a vaccine or whatever injection. I mean, this is like sci-fi kind of speculation at this point of what they might do, like in terms of that. But yeah, if they try to claim that they need to figure out who are the real humans and who are the aliens, and then use some kind of chipping thing to claim that they're confirming that. And then if that was also set into some kind of internet, cybersecurity aspect, meanwhile, they shut down outer space, lock us down as well, move us into smart cities. There's a lot of crazy possibilities of what they could do.
And then possibly, if any of this is real, that some of us may be a partial descendant of said extra out ponder.
Oh yeah, like Jesus outer ponder coming back. Like they're like that's the reason that he never died, or why he was able to come back to life, or whatever. Like they're immortal.
Jesus went to the outer ponds. That's really what happened.
Jesus, that's where he's from to begin with. That's his lineage.
Jesus of Pondereth.
Well,
hey, what about I
It resonates with me. The part of be on this world, but not of it, and I don't feel I'm of this world. So I mean, just something.
Oh, so you're an outer ponder. Okay.
Whoa.
Exactly. If anything, I probably am at least a partial descendant of one.
Like, what if the big-headed people that we assume that are all gone are not? That's kind of something I consider. And how similar are they to? They're like almost like an alien species, almost. I think. No. Too soon.
Well, I mean, I get like people mess with me and said you're an alien, whatever, and that probably got me to thinking about it.
Out of this world information.
If anybody has a double tall head, I don't want to like make fun of your like immutable qualities or what have you.
Yeah,
but, like,
man, I'm offended. No, man. If I had a big old double-sized head, I'd be proud of that.
If you was cradle boarded as a child, it was not your choice. You know what I mean? That's not.
No,
like,
but I'd show it
I
off.
want to re-traumatize.
Walk around looking like Conehead.
Hell yeah, I'd show it off. I would not be bashful.
Now, if you met somebody with twice your head size, a cone head or whatever, would you think that they had like some kind of smartness that you wouldn't have because they have double brain or triple brain to you?
Maybe they haven't forgotten the abilities and senses and of what they actually are and able to do.
Like,
and
look
what
at how smart
reality
Zanick is. And Zanick has a normal sized head.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, he's not an asshole.
If
like
you could
some
pile
of the people I've
3
talked to.
Zanick brains on top of each other, put them in a brain cap, you know what I mean? Like, you'd have a being that existed. Like, these people walked around, like, they would have had presumably like the ability, some kind of crazy abilities.
Well, I've seen a lot of the headdresses and whatnot, and they obviously something inspired these people to attempt to shape their children's heads in this manner. So there is definitely something.
What do you do if you fall over, Snacks, and you got a big head? You're all top heavy.
Like, are we? I don't know. What if like the whole evolution tree is wrong? You know what I mean? What if we descended from bigger headed people? And we're the smaller headed types.
Devolution.
That's
maybe our heads used to well, I won't say that one. Well, I was gonna say this though from before. Well, I was gonna say the big noses. Why some people have big noses? Maybe it's because we used to have big heads or something. I was gonna try to make some link between big noses and big heads. No, but dude, I was just gonna say another like quick factor that could be done with all this would be like disease. The aliens have a disease. You have to get vaccinated. Could be, I'm just saying it's a whole other facet of an alien invasion thing that they could bring.
War of the Worlds, sort of, in a way.
Yeah, contamination factor, either with like a toxin or with some kind of pathogen that they're bringing from the other planet, and therefore you have to get a new vaccine, or just that whole angle too. I was going to say from before.
Yeah, the aliens have been climate changing us all this time. They're the ones truly spraying all the chemicals in the sky. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Well, with all the financial stuff going on, it could be used for like an excuse for like a reset that doesn't let people know that the money just ran out and they took what they could, or I don't know, who knows. I think if they disclose flat Earth and then use that as a way of using outer ponders, that would be their best plan. I'd hate if they do that, but that might be their best plan.
Yeah, these aliens are trying to steal our gold supply.
No, the whole financial thing, yeah. Okay, yeah, whether they steal the gold supply.
It's a heist movie.
That the banking would have to change, like that would be another angle too, the whole bank.
Have they ever done a disclosure like that before, though? New perspective, like the idea that they would concede that it's actually flat. I mean, I don't mind the idea. I think it's cool and fun to speculate on it, but I just don't think it would destroy all of their foundation of their space paradigm that they've built up, and their whole Was it alien
Yeah, but
invaders?
that's already destroyed. That's already gone. I mean, people that are using their brains and they're faking it poorly on purpose for some reason, they're not even doing a good job. I mean, they're showing us wires on the ISS. If you believe that, you're just not paying attention. Like somebody was saying in here the other day, like think about all the women up there having their menstrual cycle at the same time, packed in with all the men's smelly taints for how many months? I mean, if you believe that, they don't feel sorry for you. It's just stupid to believe that. It's ridiculous. It's like they're it's like the it's such gaslighting, complete gaslighting.
These people would be
There's
living
no
on
way
dry.
that anyone's up there that long.
Do you know how many like loads of dryer sheets they would need? You know, up there.
Oh my God.
Just to manage scents up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just so you wouldn't smell each other so badly. After a week, it would be like unbearable.
Talk about getting to know somebody. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's like sharing a, 2-bedroom apartment with like 8 people.
Yeah.
It's like friends, but like in a
Screw that.
1-bedroom apartment.
I wonder if
No,
they
thank
fluoridate the water on the ISS. Do you reckon they add fluoride to that water just to, make sure that they're all healthy and their bone density and their teeth are good?
Yeah, that's what they're concerned about.
Make sure they're fluoridating themselves up there.
It's allegedly, without the presence of gravity, they don't have like a load, and so therefore, like they lose bone mass because there's no allegedly. So like
Allegedly, they grow and then they shrink once being exposed to our gravity for a certain period of time, along with other physiological differences that make you go,
I don't know particularly if I'd want to live off the ground for any extended amount of time.
Oh man, there's a buddy of mine. We asked him, look up. You see that? That's International Space Station. He said, "Fuck that! There ain't no way in hell y'all get me on something like that. I'd be curled up in a fetal position, hollering for mama."
I got a question for everyone.
Oh.
In regards to this conversation, this topic. If there was going to be a quote unquote alien invasion and people saw it, how would we be able to determine whether it was Project Bluebeam or something else, or if it was real? How would people differentiate real from fake?
Well, you would say like 1 is Dr. Stephen Greer involved with it, and 2 is that other guy with the crew cat with the that other. There's only 2 handlers right now.
Yeah, the Elizondo guy.
We got Lou.
No, it's a good question, dude.
he's
How to
been around.
decipher if it's real or fake?
You
Because
got the-
even people with a flat Earth viewpoint could even be, possibly convinced that there's some aliens from some other place, even if they're not on the globe, kind of thing. So, like, could people actually think they're, outer ponders or other landers, and how to decipher whether it's real or fake? It's an interesting question. Like, how would they actually get a lot of people, no matter what your cosmology is? Could they? And then there's a question, well, what if there really are some other species? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if it actually is real? So,
Dude, I'll tell you what, I'll watch the congressional hearings, and I do have my own opinion.
Okay, what's your personal opinion?
That I do not trust what is being presented publicly. I'm taking it with a grain of salt. Do I feel that there's probably other stuff going on? Yeah. I got a gut feeling, and it sounds weird, and people might think I'm fucking crazy. I don't care. I'm willing to go ahead and share it with you, man. I think there is something to biblical and other tales and oral traditions and whatnot, and world religions around the world all speak of beings coming from the heavens.
Okay, so you're saying that if something miraculous happened in your area, all of a sudden the sky lit up in the middle of the night, and then all of a sudden there was these beings coming down, and would you relate that directly to the Bible, or would that be something else? That's why I'm trying to ask the question, because so far I have asked this question many times, and no one's given me an absolute type of an answer.
Me as an individual, I can only speculate as to how I would react or respond.
Yeah, wouldn't it come down to discernment ultimately? To have to be discerning with anything. I mean, in any event, because it would just take tremendous discernment. I mean, how would we know now to predict what we would know until it happened? You know what I mean? Like, in terms of what they're selling us, like even with the Charlie Kirk thing, some people like off the bat were like, "Oh wow, it looks real," and then over time they were like, "Oh no, it's total BS." So in the same way, like that was presented to us. So, and some people still think that's real or whatever it is. But if there's some event, is it an actual real event or is it staged? I guess everybody would have to be discerning at that time to figure it out. I mean, it seems like if it's run by the kind of system, though, as a huge event, it would seem more likely that it's planned by them, in my mind, rather than something genuine. If the military is all involved, and there's just a lot of factors that would already lean it that way. But I mean, there could be other species on this earth, so it's possible.
My grandfather, he had the conspiracy theory. He was old school, but anyway, he was really into inner Earth. Not flat around or any of that, inner. And a lot of it had to do with the tales and passed down traditions of us emerging from underground, where we had our own world or our own atmosphere. I don't know how to fucking word it. Our own light source, or it was like a different world, basically. I don't know how to word that any better, but
inner Earth.
There was one place in the Amazon. There's another place, Tibet, I think, and one other location where supposedly guardians of this portal, if you will, I don't know, entrance. Yes, entrance. But he retired from the Navy and he saw some shit on the ocean floor. A submariner. Well, anyways, he's old school, and I tell you what, there is a lot of tales. I did look it up. That is a lot of history is coming from other star systems and coming up from the ground and coming back out of the water.
All right. Ricksky, I think you might have been hot micing. I think your mic might be popping on.
And they do have those UFOs, the USOs coming out of the water, which kind of indicates they may say they're coming from outer ponds and through the oceans, and that's where the craft comes out of the water.
Ooh, outer ponds, under the water from the outer ponds.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
They've set that up.
I wanted to say, bro, real quick, I just want to say this from before, dude. The whole thing, your idea that they would disclose the shape of the earth and do all that. What about what if that's actually in their plans? If we woke up to the earth not being a globe too quickly before they could pull off. You know what I mean? What if that's a backup plan for them right now? Okay, if they all figure out if they all figure out, but that would only be if we all figured out in masses that we're not on a globe, then they might have to be okay, yeah, we're not on a globe, and here's this outer ponder or whatever thing, that's the backup Project Bluebeam if we actually figured it out. But at the rate it's going now, potentially maybe it's not going to really happen to where most people are still on the globe, to to where they could just go with the outer space globe one. I'm just saying, have you thought of that like them disclosing it would only happen as like a backup if we figured it out and then they kind of had to?
Yeah, well, the thing is like if enough people figured it out, like as far as like them having to do something about it, they would love that, because think about the build up to that. Like if they're all about separation, and we've got like literally half the population saying that we're not on the globe, and the other half is still holding on to the fantasy, that would be like the perfect separating factor for them, because there's nothing you can do about it anyway. We're not gonna. They could continue running all this space propaganda for the people that like it, and they just make it like a thing that you believe if you want to believe, just like a church. You don't have to buy into it. They're still going to take the money. We can't demand anything. It's not like they count the votes, so it doesn't matter how many people think that we're not on the planet. They can
No,
just
but they're
keep running
claiming
it
it's all,
like Disneyland.
but it's science, and they're claiming the WGS 84, and I mean they're claiming it's the real deal with the satellites, and so I mean it's all linked into the government and science and all that.
So I think wouldn't they just double down and then basically, like, if it really started running away, if they stopped if everyone started getting aware of the flat Earth, right? I think they just turn off the internet. Why would they not just turn off the internet? Like, I'm sure they've got an off switch for this thing that they've built, right? Somewhere in Sweden, probably controlled by Nokia or something. Sweden or Switzerland? I don't know, but I have heard that they've basically got a central point where they can literally just turn off the internet. May even be Israel these days with the way things are going. So if the complex of the flat Earth versus the globe starting getting away from them, I'd say they're just going to turn off the internet and isolate everyone, and then probably start doing stuff in the sky to convince us all.
Well, what threat do we pose? Like, why would they be threatened by people saying you're lying? Like, do they have to really change it? Do we force them to do anything?
What do you mean, sorry?
Like, why are they forced to do anything? Just because we're telling other people that they're not telling the truth? Why would it matter to them?
Why would it matter to them? I mean, look, most people have got a familiarity with the concept of the flat Earth, right? They laugh at it. That's the complex that's been put forward. I really can't see at this point, unless something major happens, that a whole bunch of people are going to start converting, because they already have a presupposition about what the idea is.
Well, listen to this. I wrote this meme. I like to try to say it all as one sentence. But since you talked about turning off the internet, the meme says, ironically, the flat earthers were the most useful when the government decided to finally admit we're on a stationary plane, trapped inside of a dome firmament where God is watching your every move and making popcorn for the upcoming outer ponder, ancient ancestor, extraterrestrial, ocean emerging UFO, directed energy weapon, PSYOP invasion that'll make 95% of the world's population live in a perpetual state of a frenzied panic until they're told that everyone just needs to give up all property ownership and personal freedoms to avoid a more immediate death and get the internet turned back on as soon as possible.
Where did you pull that from?
You heard it here first. Copyright, patented, and trademarked.
I wrote that as a meme. I wrote that as a meme. It's in the chat. But I'm just saying, like, separation is what they want. Divide and conquer, right? So the more people that disagree about the Earth being flat or round, the better, because it doesn't really affect their policies or what they put the money towards. They can still fake it as long as they, want to. I'm saying that the outer ponders is so much more useful. If they do, they're building up to it, and they merge the alien conspiracy with the flat Earth conspiracy, and we know how flat Earth unites everybody. We're united because of it right here, right? So you use the flat Earth to bring in the New World Order, and then use the outer ponders as the threat that Reagan was talking about to get us to all unify and be on one, plane with each other, across from each other, not on the other side of the globe.
It's just like for me.
And wait, hold on. And the Romans still rule, right? We still use the eagle, the Roman eagle. That's still the emblem that we use. So even though people think Rome fell, it's the same boss as the old boss. Sometimes they have to make it seem like the old boss was taken out so that the new boss could do better things. but it's the same people.
I can't understand why someone would like a standard everyday schmo would go, okay, I've just been told by the government that we were convinced there was a globe, and now it's actually flat. But now we're also being attacked by some outer ponders or something. Like, I mean, if they basically broke the spell in telling people that it's actually flat, and then at the same time told them they're being attacked by outer ponders, why would they believe all of a sudden that they're being attacked by outer ponders if they've just been lied to on such a vast scale?
Because they have real directed energy weapons with quote unquote real UFOs that just zapped your neighbor's house because he didn't do whatever they told him to do. Right? And yeah, it's a real thing. You saw your neighbor's house or a whole city get zapped, right? But from a UFO. They could probably do that for real now. And the outer ponders could be benevolent, or it gives them a perfect excuse. We had to lie to you to protect them from us from them. The reason that we gave you the space fantasy was because we had a treaty with the outer ponders, but thanks to these flat earthers, now they're coming to attack us, or whatever it is they say. You know?
Well, and maybe these out ponders are humanoid in appearance for a reason other than just our comfort.
Yeah, check out I also put in the chat the Project Firesign. That was the Clinton Foundation was supposedly behind this, and the whole thing was Project Bluebeam, basically to create a pseudo religious experience with these things in the sky. And read that whole thing. I mean, visual cues are augmented with pulsed ELF electromagnetic emissions that attack the specific areas of the prefrontal cortex that are stimulated during religious experiences, and using lasers to create the image in the sky with the sodium layer. I mean, they've been talking about this for a long time. And how will we know if it's fake or real? Or what is fake and real any longer? I don't know. I'm just saying it would give them the excuse. I hope they don't do it. It's not like I'm saying I hope they do the outer ponder thing and tell us the quote unquote truth about flat Earth, because it'll be like co-opting it all and making it their pseudo version of flat Earth. There's no more land, and the firmament's exactly this thick. Make up a whole new pseudoscience based on their version of flat Earth. That would suck, right? I hope they go with the fake alien space. I don't think they'll do any of this, though, by the way. They'll just probably go business as usual. The alien thing will just change people's mindset too much. They won't spend money in the same way or think about life in the same way. Why would they want to ruin that?
Well, because they want to get, at some point, they're going to have to implode the nation state, this goes back to the Reagan statement, right? Where if we attack from an outside source, then we would unify. And this is when they want to put it under the one world government. And I just can't see them giving away that card. I think that would be the major card to play.
It would be like the thing you least expect, which we can't rule out. But it would also be like the biblical, like revealing the big truth, like they're following scripture. They're using it as a playbook, and they're supposed to be a big truth reveal, and then like a time of golden age or whatever.
Have you ever thought of it as like script? A scripture that's a script?
There you go. Yeah, that word's in there for a reason, maybe, huh?
Yep. So is scribe and the scribes.
Yeah, if they do the alien thing, I hope they go with that fake space version of it. That's much easier to see as really fake. Because if they do outer ponders, they could just use humans and the technology they actually have with the directed energy weapons they actually have. And all the narratives of all the different types of outer ponders could be used. Real-time gods, or even a society like, oh, look at all the outer ponders, how they have all these, little domes they live in, or the smart cities. They're way ahead of us. We got to do what they do because that's the progress. That's the way forward. Look how efficient they are, or whatever it is. Like there's so many opportunities for narratives.
In the early 80s, I recall a revelation that was made publicly with three-letter CIA. I'll go ahead and say it because it came out publicly and said it. They're working together with these major corporations to program in these advertisements what was called subliminal messaging. And it was they were like fucking going through the lawsuits in the 70s and then 80s. It was made public, and it's like it went in people's ear and right out the other, and the next day they just continued consuming like nothing had ever happened. Subliminal messaging. But anyway, when I looked into it, there's layered data, like using a carrier wave to transfer a lot of data.
Oh yeah, straight. What's it called? Something to skull. Yeah,
Voice of
that's a
skull
real
is
technology.
another
Yeah,
text.
voice
Yes,
of
it
skull.
is.
Yeah.
A voice of God, etc.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy and boring to sit down and watch these damn congressional hearings, but I got into it because they were attempting to convince me that I was destroying the world. HVAC technician, refrigeration technician, handling refrigerants, that I was killing us all. It was the ozone layer, if you don't recall. But anyway.
Oh, good thing you're a flat earther now. You don't believe in the ozone layer being what they said.
Well, dude, I learned, and I'm not a flat earther or a glober. I don't know. And I'm not going to pick a side. I respectfully decline. But I appreciate.
Well, if you stopped believing that you're on a spinning ball, you're a flat earther, according to my definition of flat earther.
Well, okay, but I don't picture a flat plane. But I also don't forget it's not a fucking sphere either. I got questions, that people were interested in, like but for both sides because I don't know, right? And I'm just glad that I know that I don't know.
But do you think there's a way to know if you're on a ball or not? You think there's anything that could prove to you that you're not on a spinning ball?
Dude, yes. Anything, if it's true, yes. I'd be willing to accept it. Right now, I can't accept what's been presented to me. It's incomplete. At least, if not just incorrect.
Can I ask you a quick question, new perspective on the dual poll?
Sure.
I don't know if you answered me in the text chat, but I did ask the question in the text chat. If Australia, the continental Australia, is on the right-hand side of the map and America is on the left-hand side of the map, why can I see the moon at the same time as them? And the sun for that matter.
That would be something I'd have to ask E1 if he's figured out as far as moon position goes. But there's 12 moon analemmas for every one sun analemma. And as far as being able to see the sun, you can't see it as like where the position of the sun is looking down, like as a 2D map. Like Gio and I were just DMing about this. Like if you see like the sun circling in the south and you're like, yeah, I'm in California. How am I getting sunlight in California? But the sun is way up, fuck up there, and pretty much everybody that it's not nighttime for can see the sun. So in the same way, it's closer and at the same time way up there for the moon. And
Yeah.
there's a thing here's a video he made about the moon. In fact, that he figured out. That he said there's other people that have also said it after he figured it out, but so it's not like there's something he's speculating about. But he does a whole thing. I'll post it about how you can find Polaris from looking at the moon. You take your elbow and put it at the bottom of the moon and then if it's like a half moon, you put your put it at an angle, and then
I've
you
heard
point
you talking
backwards.
about that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But
I think that you can see the moon from a lot of places. You can see the moon during the day, even there's a sun out. You know.
Yeah.
What time of year were you talking? What time of year?
Yeah, that would be important, maybe.
Well, so what I'm talking about, dude, when I wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, right, the sun is still presumably observable in the sky for California and all of the east coast of America. So when you're looking at the dual pole, how is it that the sun is sort of over on the left-hand side and also on the right-hand side at the same time?
What day? What day of the year? What month of the year, at least? Any idea?
Well, so I was saying, yeah.
I don't think it really. I mean, look. I mean, it's over on the west. It's setting. It's like just set for me now.
Like, are you talking when in the north or the south on the dual pole?
I don't think it necessarily matters. I mean, would you just look at the setting time at California, what the time is for the setting sun, and you look at the east coast of Australia, what the time is the rising sun, and there's an overlap there. You can see the sun or the moon or any of the stars for that matter at the same time I can see them. The stars I don't mind about too much, you know, but the particular, like the lumen, the major luminous bodies, those are the two I'm mostly concerned about as far as this is concerned.
When I ask E1 about it, the claim is basically that you're saying there's times where there's people can see the sun, not just sunlight, right? Like actually see the sun in America, like on the West Coast or something?
Yeah, on the West Coast of America at the same time as the East Coast of Australia, you can see the sun at the same time.
Okay, I'll ask him about that. Would there be how would that work if that were true, and would it work with a dual pole? I'll ask him.
Yeah, because looking at the dual pole, this is like kind of one of the little problems that I got with the dual pole. I think it resolves a lot of other issues, right? But it's just this idea that I can see, like you guys are looking to if you consider the dual pole map, if you're looking, if you're on the west coast of America, up on the top left, and then on the right-hand side on the east coast of Australia, you can see the same sun, presumably the same sun, unless there's a dual sun thing going on, but I don't know.
That's interesting. Well, we'd have to like confirm. I'm sure that's not hard to do. I mean, even just looking at the GPs of the sun can you know, it's a Graticule transform, so it should work out regardless of that. But as far as the dual pole and the way the sun circles in both places, maybe if there's a certain day or month that you know for sure this happens, like you have a friend in America that's seeing the sun, and would it be the actual sun or sunlight would be part of it? And then as far as like direct sunlight, like he did like the 33-degree correction, and he said that fixed a lot of the problems he was having because or the direct sunlight from New Zealand didn't get enough direct sunlight the way that the regular transform was. And then when the 33-degree correction of the prime meridian moved the continents up, then New Zealand got the correct amount of direct sunlight. So he's thought about this as far as each place getting the correct amount of direct sunlight. I don't know that he would overlook something that's like what you're talking about, or if that's something he would already have accounted for. I'm not sure.
Well, Tarek, this is really, really remedial. Also, the sun. I just whipped this on here, okay? But is that kind of the thing you might be talking about? That people in America would still see it? I'm not even saying those angles are right or anything. I'm not. I just literally threw lines on it, but something to that effect. When the sun's in the north, let's say.
Yeah, sure. That comports with a problem that I've got. Yeah. So you should be like on that. You would at the same time be seeing the same sun, but presumably the guys on the west coast of America should be looking off into the left-hand side of that image, and we're looking off into the right-hand side of that image, and we see the same image or the same sort of luminous body.
Yeah. Well, again, if you're looking down on a 2D and you think you have to look across those continents to see the sun instead of just looking up, because if you're looking up from America, it's just like Geo has it. If you're looking up from America, you're going to see the sun. If you're looking up from Australia, you're going to see the sun because it's way up high. It's not like you have to look in a 2D direction to see the sun the way this makes it look. You know what I'm saying?
No, I reserve something of a position of the sky is doing something that is sort of hyperbolic in nature. But I am trying to plant the idea, like I kind of like the dual pole for solving a couple of the southern aspects, right? But this is just one that's gnawing at me, and I might have to go. I don't mind the idea that the sky is doing something beyond what we would experience on the Earth. I was hoping that the dual pole would resolve, I guess, the basic geometry, but it, just because of the nature of this, it doesn't seem to really resolve it.
Is this
Do you understand what I was saying though?
Hold on, I'm not going to say a full thing. You continue new perspective, but is this what you're referring to, that the sun would be observed there? Real quick, is that kind of the issue? Okay, all right, thanks. That's it. All right, go ahead, Noob.
Appreciate it. Thanks for showing this.
So you're not saying you're not saying you think it's a ball and it only works with the ball, but this is how the ball has it, and that would work if it were a ball, even though you know it's not.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, I got enough problems with the ball, so I acknowledge that it's probably something else. I mean, but the globe does actually resolve the issue of being able to, like, the west coast of America and the east coast of Australia being able to observe the same thing observe something in the sky. It's just they're looking in the wrong directions.
But do you see what I'm saying about the if that sun were high enough, right? And you're not looking across the other, it's like the way it looks in 2D is you'd have to look like diagonally at it parallel to you, but it's not parallel to you, it's up in the sky. You see what I'm saying?
It's
Think
not
about it way up high,
but it's up in the sky. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not parallel the way this 2D image makes it look. Like you're seeing the sun's position, right? On a 2D map, it's not like it's on the ground with you. It's way up in the sky. So a lot of these, so that's what I was asking about in California. Like, if you're in California and it's circling the south, how are you seeing the sunset or the sun at all if it's way down circling the south? He's like, well, that's because when you put yourself on the ground and then you put this map, so you're not looking parallel to see the sun in the south. You're looking at the sun in the sky just like anybody does, right? It sets way south of west, but you're still seeing it as an apparent sun that goes and sets in the horizon, right? South of west, right? It's just as far as you can see the sun. So even in this, like here, let me put this other thing I put in. As far as the directions go, this is just a transform. Like if you have, like we're talking about shipping routes and all that, it's the exact same point-to-point coordinate system. That doesn't seem intuitive because they show you Hawaii to New Zealand is like a straight shot across the international date line, right? Well, it's the same shot. It's just that it's a coordinate system transform. You go around the other way, and it's the same exact point-to-point coordinate system. And it's hard to see it that way because they got us thinking globe, and that it only works for the globe. So all these things seem like it could be that you're right and it doesn't work, and I'm just trying to justify it. But I'll ask you one about what you're saying. But maybe get like the exact date and time, or if you can, of when the sun was actually seen in America.
Well, I mean,
you were seeing
I just kind of looked it up then. Tomorrow, the sun is supposed to set at about 4:40 or something p.m. tomorrow on the West Coast. So that's Californian setting time. The rising time in Australia at the moment is around about sort of 5:30 to 6 a.m. in the morning. And we can both see that object in the sky.
Cool. I'll play him this recording of us talking about it and see what he says.
Well, see, one thing about this, Real quick, if I post this image, see one thing about it. So that path there, let's say that's at 40 degrees latitude north. Let's say that green path. It looks like a whole like horseshoe, kind of hook around. But the equivalent to that on a globe is what they call the small circle route, which is like if you went on a globe and you stayed at 40 degrees, and then you just stayed going, you stayed at 40 and you kept traveling, the whole east-west whole thing. Here, I'm just pulling up an image real quick because I have to actually show this to show the comparison. And it links into what you're saying, Ricksky. So like, okay, in this one, okay, see small circle routes. So imagine that small circle route on a globe is at 40 degrees north and, et cetera. And it's going around like that, the top of the ball. Well, that green line on that dual pole kind of layout is actually the equivalent. So, when the sun is going like across the Pacific, it's not shooting out, the equivalent of the coordinates on the dual pole there. You might think the United States like, oh, it's shooting off the map, the way I drew that other one with the green arrows and the sun that shoots off that way. But actually what's comparable is because this makes the Pacific Ocean the ring around the outside. Because on a globe, like even if you go that small circle route at 40 degrees north, you're still turning your boat to follow that. Like it's not a straight thing. Like you're turning your ship to the right. Well, on this dual pole, you're also turning your ship to the right. You know what I'm saying? So like the path of the sun equivalent that would go like across the Pacific Ocean, from let's say the United States over to Australia, that kind of idea, that actually is equivalent to like a small circle route, which would be, that green line on that dual pole that's actually going around the pole like that. So because you're actually turning your craft. If you were to do the other one where you just shot off, like in the one I posted at 33 after, that green arrow that's just shooting off that way, that would actually be on a globe like you're going down in latitude if you just shoot off that way. But the sun's not changing latitude. The sun would actually be circling on the same latitude, which would be like a small circle route, which would be like the green line on the one at 37 after. Sorry, I don't know if I explained that properly.
One of the things that he said to me last time I talked to him, which was a couple nights ago, and he was we're looking at this map, and we're looking at he was explaining something about the star movements and the plotting of it, because there's the cardinal directions, I could post that one too to make it more clear. He's like, this is what they use. I mean, besides his map having the 33-degree prime meridian correction, as far as all practical purposes and using the fields, like if there's a magnetic field that we determine the north to south magnetic declination and following our compasses to point to the north to do all of our directions on Earth, they actually have to use the real field, right? And that's why that it looks like that, because they actually use it. And for the stars, they actually use the real electromagnetic field to deploy satellites that actually circle around and use that electromagnetic field, and they utilize it. So it's not like it's just an idea he came up with to make the 24-hour sun work. He knew there was a 24-hour sun way before that, but regardless, he's like, this is the Graticule that they use. This is the one they use, not the globe. So this is what they started with. Then regardless if they knew they were going to try to, flip the sides and the top and the bottom back and make you think you're on a ball, it doesn't matter. This is what they use for all navigation, for all star plotting, for anything that shows them anything real, because these are the real fields that it's reflecting. It's designed on the real forces of the real fields that they use and harness to make everything work with the GPS and everything. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. It doesn't work on a spherical transform of this, and it doesn't work on an AE transform of this. It only works like this because this is what it is. So it's not like they were trying to trick us into thinking we're on a ball with the two poles. They were just showing that they were using the fields, and this is why they drew it out this way. Because that's the electromagnetic field and the magnetic field combined.
I was going to say too, this is like a two hemisphere. So the way they, sell it as a globe, This one actually has 2 equal hemispheres versus
Yeah.
the AE that obviously doesn't have that.
And you can't have cardinal directions on a globe or on an AE. And they use cardinal directions to plot everything. I mean, nothing would work if they didn't use this exact graticule is the point. So it's not a transform of the globe like the globe is trying to tell you. And they'll come in here and demand that that's what it is, but it's not. The globe is a transform from the real graticule that actually shows the real forces of the electromagnetic sky and the magnetic field we have here that compasses use, and that's how we get around. If that's the case, I'm not saying I know that's the case, but that is the case. People can look into it. What do they use? And he's like, this is what you, if you look into it, look at all the nautical information, star plotting, look at all the star charts.
You broke up a little bit at the end. Yeah, the star charts. I was going to post this real quick just to support what you're saying. This shows the sun path. This shows how there's 2. Oh, dude, your mic. Well, go ahead if you're trying to talk.
I think he's just hot micing.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Oh yeah, I cut out probably for a second. They have to have the 4 corners for it to even work, is what I'm saying. I don't know if you heard that.
You cut out at the end, but I was just going to say real quick to support what you're saying. I just posted that one that shows the sun path in the north and in the south, and how it makes sense that they have to actually chart it. I mean, I know the globe guys are going to say, "Oh, it's because it's 2 hemispheres. You're charting it, as 2 hemispheres," but it's definitely not what the AE map is what I'm also saying. But this shows how, like you were saying, the star charts in the north and the south, and the sun path shows the 2 symmetrical regions of our world.
Yeah. Yeah, this shows that it's a 2-pole graticule, not a globe. You can think of it like a globe. You can go around the North Pole and be in a ship, in the ocean, and even be in a ship, around the South Pole and be in the ocean, and you could totally believe you're on the blue side of the ball because it's the exact same distance, the exact same coordinate system, point for point, no different whatsoever, except your reality would make sense because you're not on a ball.
No, the
You're on
difference
level
is
water.
that the globe doesn't require Pac-Man.
No, there's no
That's the
Pac-Man
difference.
here, bro. You're just going around the north or going around the south. It's the exact same point for point system. There's no Pac-Man required.
Oh, so that means I can go. That means that that at the equator I can go from west to east or from east to west, and I will just be fine traveling in a straight path.
Yeah, you go around the poles just like you would on a ball.
Well, I think he might be saying if you stayed
the
straight on the equator, if you stayed going straight on the
Yeah,
equator.
you never dead reckon on a ball and go past any of these coordinate systems. There's no dead reckoning on a ball or AE or this. You follow your compass and you either go around the north or you go around the south, whether you're on a ball or whether you're on the actual graticule that we use in all practical ways
Not
on a
really
level surface.
In modern times, we don't really use the compass. We use GPS.
Yeah, it's all based on this graticule, not a ball graticule. This is the graticule GPS uses.
Well,
Not a ball.
If this is the graticule as in the map that is posted here in the text chat, then if you are at 0 degrees latitude and GPS shows you are at 0 degrees latitude, and you would follow that line of 0 degrees latitude, then you will reach the edge of the Earth.
No, you would go around with your compass either north or south, just like it. Just look at it. You see the ball. It works exactly the same. You follow your compass.
But then
You don't- you
GPS
don't-
would show
you
you
don't
that
ever
you're
not
deviating
follow
from
your
the
compass
equator.
on a ball. Huh?
I mean, then I guess your GPS would show you that you're deviating from the equator, that you aren't at 0 degrees anymore. And you could
Yeah, the
also tell
GPS will show you exactly where you are, just like you're on a ball, but you're not. You're using the graticule, which is this graticule, not a ball graticule. This is the transform, or this is the actual coordinates that uses the magnetic field and the electromagnetic field And that's why it has to look like this. It can't not look like this because we see the stars circling above and converging and diverging star trails, which doesn't work on a ball either. But that's how it works, bro.
It really uses stars, not compass. Compass is a good approximation.
It uses stars and compass. The compass is the magnetic field here on Earth, and the electromagnetic field that is a double field in the sky that converge and diverge, and two separate fields that act as one, funneling in on each other. That's just what it is. It doesn't work on a ball. It doesn't work on an AE map.
Wait, what? Why wouldn't it work on a ball? On a ball, you have two poles.
Doesn't work on a ball because you have converging and diverging star trails.
You really don't.
North, west, east, and south are linear directions, mate. Compasses only work from over a horizontal plane.
North. Wait,
yep.
What do you mean by linear directions? I mean,
straight.
They
horizontal.
are. Oh no, they aren't. They aren't horizontal.
Yes, they are.
Well, no, you follow the magnetic field lines. The magnetic field lines run from the South Pole to the North Pole, and your compass is always going to point north.
Embo, point south now.
South?
Point south now and tell me what direction your arm's in.
I mean, I would have to use references in my room.
Yeah, you're not pointing down, are you, mate? You're pointing horizontally, aren't you? Yes. Glad we cleared that one up.
Oh yeah,
that's an interesting point. Well done. That's interesting.
But you have no proof that if I go to some other place, then I would be pointing in the same direction. If only proven that
points north, yes or no?
I mean, it points north and south.
Well, yeah, the back half of it. It just follows the magnetic field lines, right?
Yeah. We agree on that.
Yeah, there we go.
But I'm still confused. Why wouldn't it work on a ball? Because on a ball, magnetic field lines, they approximately also follow this path from the North Pole to the South Pole. It isn't perfect. You have a slight deviation, and you have to account for that using magnetic declination. That's basically what magnetic declination is. But approximately it's at their geographic poles. So I don't see a reason why it wouldn't work on a ball.
Well, there's a whole thing about the ball magnet. It doesn't work at the halfway point or the equator or whatever. There'd be a pause because of the way that a ball magnet works compared to the way like a regular magnetic field works, with just like a flat bar magnet. It doesn't work the same.
I know that the Earth.
And that's look like this. See, that's what they started. That's the magnetic field, and it doesn't work over a ball the same way. It looks kind of like a ball, and when you put the magnetic field with the electromagnetic field together, wow, they're like, hey, we could make them think we're on a ball with this. Kind of looks like a ball. Wonder how they came up with that. Well, great. This is exactly the fields that we know and use. So, I mean, that's how it's practically used. Not
and
like a
ball. And I always post this, which shows the different coordinates of a sphere, and you see that one on the vertical wall. That is the coordinates of a sphere from the horizontal, the east, the equator, the equatorial, rather than the north-south, which you get the AE map. You get like an AE of the southern part of the ball, or an AE of the upper or the northern part of the sphere. Or if you go diagonally, like you go horizontally, you get it's like a stereographic projection of spherical coordinates.
That was so fascinating to me when you guys started talking about this, or when I started noticing it. Brilliant. But the problem is it's AE, and it's not a dual pole at the bottom. It's a dual pole in the sky. So it doesn't resolve that, unfortunately.
Well, that could be like, the vertical one would be the ground and the sky, essentially. The vertical wall.
It kind of shows how the transforms like kind of an equivalent. But I just put, this is like E1 put the stars on these wheels, right? And he thinks they're fairly accurate with over the land the way he's got it, right? But this shows there's two sets of stars, the northern stars and the southern stars. They converge and diverge. right? It wouldn't work otherwise.
I got a question for you though. Like as far as this dual poles, is it even possible? Are you willing to entertain it? 2 suns, 2 moons, like whatever these projections are in the sky. I don't need them to necessarily in my my frame to think that they're necessarily like a ball, like a physical matter. It could be a projection from somewhere else. But could this possibly like resolve the issue that I've got as far as us both being able
I
to
don't think
see
it's
the image?
necessary. I don't think it's
Okay.
necessary, but I'll ask him.
Well, because I see what Rick's saying. You guys are addressing the pathing, but you're not addressing the cardinal direction we would have to look to see the same sun.
I think it's going to be really problematic, the idea of multiple suns, because there's one GP of the sun. It can be essentially triangulated by different people in different areas, like they can all point to it. And not to get into the whole topic of triangulation, I know that's contested, and then the distances on the ground need to be verified, all that stuff. But essentially, I just have never seen any evidence of more than one sun or like more than one GP of a sun. But I mean, there are ways in which like you could have kind of like a holographic crystalline sky of some sort. Like it has a crystalline nature to it and sort of like a lenticular lens effect. Like we've talked about that to where like you're always viewing the sun from where you're at, but you could only one person could be at one GP at any one time. But there still would have to be
reflections though. And I talked about that with E. He said there are reflections. There's like 2 suns reported, like for a while, like the people were claiming there was 2 suns. So there was like a residual like reflection going on for a while, he thought. And he also talks about a double rainbow being good evidence for a firmament. So, I mean, there could be a point where there's a reflection of the sun that seems like a sun, especially if it's on the outer, if it's coming around the bend, maybe between Australia and the States. Who knows if that's what you're talking about or what?
That's what I'm kind of it would resolve the issue if there's 2 suns. One is in like the activity of heating up the Earth or actively passing through the between the tropics, and then while the other one traverses either the southern portion or the northern portion, depending on the season, obviously. So it needs to whip around at the top end. I just can't see it whipping around. I could imagine the notion that it whips around really quickly. So it takes a time to traverse through the equatorial plane in the dual pole model. And then it quickly, it could speed up, 200, 300 times just to whip around. But being able to see the image at the same time is an issue for me. But if you've got 2 suns, one is leaving and going off towards the west as far as the dual pole model is concerned, and it departs, and then as the second one enters in on the east, but then it needs to whip. As it comes in from the east, and then it starts heating up. The other one is traversing either the northern or the southern, depending on the season. I mean, they could present themselves as the same looking image, right? Like, so when you like the guy on the east coast and the guy on the west coast, like the source is the same, right? Because you're looking at an image in the sky. It's just it appears to be exactly the same. You can tell from the sunspots and all that jazz, but yeah, I don't know.
No, those ideas are all interesting.
Some kind of reflective sun, but I'm not 2 suns. When you say 2 suns, like oh, we have 2 suns, then you're just going to get laughed at because I don't think we have 2 suns. Maybe a reflective image of a sun.
You got 2 poles.
Thing is,
we've always had 2 poles. That's the magnetic declination would only work with 2 poles. It wouldn't work the way one pole. There is no one pole magnet. It just doesn't exist.
I was just going to say, the thing is, though, I still don't see a way to break down, like, wherever, like, the idea of a reflected sun or even a second sun or anything like that, or like another area in which the sun is appearing. The thing is, at any one time, like you could freeze frame. Like you don't have to have the sun always there to know. Like you can basically freeze time at a particular moment and say, okay, the sun is at 18 degrees north of the equator on the 18-degree latitude line, and it's right over Mexico or whatever latitude, longitude. And you could then, and let's say there's these two people that are allegedly seeing like a reflected sun or a second sun, anything like that. Both of those people could be like, okay, I'm pointing to it. The other guy could say he's pointing to it. Essentially, you could travel that whole path and confirm it as well. And then you could get to being underneath that sun. So it goes back to the GP argument. And at any one time, if that sun is at that latitude and longitude, 18 degrees north, etc., as an example, then you could get under that sun and there'd be one sun and one, you'd all meet at the same place. So unless there was ever a time where the sun from two locations could be viewed and then you could travel to that position and actually have it be two GPs or be in two different spots, I don't see any way that there could be a reflection or a second sun. It's kind of that GP argument perspective. And I still don't see a way around that to where there would have to be one position of the sun at all times. Even if it is apparently observed, it still has a GP at that moment in time. You know, there's a spot on Earth. Like there's always one spot on Earth that the sun's directly above. So if there was ever a reflection or two positions above the Earth where the sun is, then there'd be two GPs simultaneously. And that, in my mind, would have to be shown that that's the case, you know, before.
I just uploaded like a quick little sketch thing. Presumably, right, when the sun is setting on the west coast of America and it's rising on the east coast of Australia, I've just drawn two lines that sort of indicate the influence of a kind of, what would it be, like a centralized light source that is sort of like lighting up that portion where I've sort of carved that arc, right? That's kind of my issue. If you draw a center line to that point, then on the left-hand side, that's where the sun would be, because that's its field of influence. And then on the right-hand side, you can see where the sun should appear on the east coast of Australia. And that's its field of influence. That's why I'm sort of kind of going, is there two suns going on here in order to resolve the dual pole map?
Just any more information you can give me about how you know there was a sun being able to be seen or in the States or whatever. Like you just going by what you looked up.
Okay. So, dude, look, the sun rises tomorrow. I think I looked it up before. It's around about sort of 5:30 in the morning. And supposedly 4:30 it sets in California. We can resolve this rather quickly. First thing, I'll wake up in the morning tomorrow and jump on this platform, obviously, and ask you guys, hey, can you see the same thing I'm looking at?
All right, cool. There you go. We'll do that. Yep. Plus, you could just look up he made up his map based on having the correct amount of sunlight, direct sunlight, for all these areas. Looking up nautical information, he looked up in the almanac. He wasn't just like, I want to make it work for this map. You know, he was like looking up the data. So I'll ask him about it for sure.
Yeah, but new perspective. Is there any way around this? Like, this is just one of these kind of map projections, and I threw the two circles on there. So let's just say that those are the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. I'm not saying they're not even lined up exactly, and they're, you know, I'm not saying anything's to scale. I'm not saying that's the correct layout of the continents or proportions or distortions or any of that. Just the basic of the continents in the north, continents in the south, with this type of layout, with Antarctica as its own pole, with the North Pole as a pole, etc. Let's say those yellow lines were on the Tropic of Capricorn and Tropic of Cancer, which they're probably not quite, but let's say they were. You know, the GP of the sun on the globe model travels on the Tropic of Cancer during the summer solstice and on the Tropic of Capricorn during the winter solstice. So imagine those two lines are the 6 months apart path of the sun. Is there any way around the GP, if the GP on the globe would be at those tropics, you know, all the way along the Tropic of Cancer for that whole day of the solstice, etc., all the way along the Tropic of Capricorn for the winter solstice, that's what it would be on a globe. Now, when you flatten it out like this, essentially, and you have the two poles, like a stereographic projection, if those yellow lines represented the tropics, then is there any other way, like the sun would be traveling on those tropics, you know, over this dual pole type layout? If the GP is on those tropics, and if the tropics are circles, you know, you get the 24-hour sun in the north, 24-hour sun in the south, you know, so the sun, like, you know,
what's
when
the
those...
problem? I'm not sure what the problem is. Are you saying at the same time it goes in those circles at the same time?
No, 6 months apart. What I'm saying is that
Yeah.
on the dual pole, that is the path of the sun. So there wouldn't really have to be like a second sun or anything. Like it would have to work with like the sun, one
Yeah.
GP circling around.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. So I thought you were saying there was a problem with the dual pole. Okay. Yeah, it would work.
No, what I'm saying, I'm not really saying it like to you as much as a point. I'm more just kind of saying it maybe a little bit to Rixky who brought it up, or just whoever about two suns or different paths of suns. Like he drew like those red lines. I'm just saying like if that's where the tropics are, there's no other place the sun would be unless we have some totally different concept. The thing is though, I mean, there's a 24-hour sun in the north. You can watch the sun circle you. So I mean that like when the sun's at the Tropic of Cancer at that time of year, you can literally watch it circle you. So I mean, it's just what it's doing. And so I'm just saying like all sun observations, if the Earth is laid out like this, would have to fit with the sun, circuiting either in the south or the north along those latitude lines, from the equator to 23.4 degree. I know I'm just saying something kind of basic, but I'm just saying like the idea of two suns or reflections, like how would those really be the case if we know the sun is above those tropics, let's say at that, 6 months apart at the solstices, tracking that path on the ground, making a circle.
Yeah, and the way I made this GIF that I just put in there, it doesn't show that there would be a time where Australia and America are both getting sun at the same time. This is an estimation of what he was saying.
Thanks for uploading that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's where my issue's kind of coming in. This is why I'm willing to accept sort of two suns potentially if you need to resolve the issue of this map.
I guess maybe a coffee cup plastic maybe or something would be possible answer.
No, but you're still looking at this, like, I can see the orb in the sky. The caustic doesn't resolve that. Caustic may be sort of resolvable as far as twilight and dawn is concerned, but doesn't resolve the issue of the actual orb being in the sky, like visible.
Yeah, I'll bring it up to him, see what he says. I mean, I haven't been able to stump him yet, but we'll see.
Wait, what's the observation? Would you mind repeating it? That would require this, or what's the issue again?
The west coast of America, seeing the sun, the orb in the sky, like actually, like not just light, but actually seeing the what do you call that? The visual phenomena of the sun in the sky at the same time.
About what time for the States and for you?
Look this up. So it's going to set tomorrow at 4:45 p.m. 1 second on the time for rising in Australia.
Wait, 4:45 p.m. for it. Sunset's way after that.
So the sun rises. The sunrise in Australia will be at 4:45 a.m. and apparently for California it's 4:40. Yeah, 44. It's 4:45. It's going to rise here. So really early in the morning, and then for California it's setting at 4:45 p.m.
So right about the same time it's setting, it's rising for you. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, they're like 4:45. It's AM PM, so there's a full 12 hours difference there. So it's going to set.
I'm just trying to work out like what time would it be in California that they're seeing the sun for them?
Are you guys in California or anywhere on the West Coast?
I
am.
on
the West Coast, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about when the sun sets. Yeah, I mean, I'm in Northern California, so, but yeah, the sun does set around that time that you're describing. So yeah, it would make sense that it's
that early. I guess it is winter time. It sets around 4:45.
Yeah,
that's good.
I'd have to look up the exact time. I live like there's a lot of mountains and things, so I don't really get to see the sun like setting over the ocean where I'm at, where I used to be able to when I lived closer to the ocean. So I don't really see like the sun going all the way, to its completion, like like you would over the ocean.
Yeah, if it's wintertime and you're seeing you see how the GIF shows when it goes to the south, you would see it set south of west, and then it would be just getting to you right then about the same time. If it goes down below.
Yeah, my sunset is like, right around that. Yeah, It's before 5 o'clock.
And it sets south of west during the winter, right?
Yep. So this image
That's
here, and this actually,
yeah,
so this is kind of what we'd be talking about, right? Like on this, again, I'm not saying this dual pole is even the exact layout or proportions, whatever, but we're generally talking about that, right? Essentially, I mean, it would be something like that where I put those green lines.
yeah, he's seeing it rise as we're seeing it set.
Yeah, because the sun
Yeah.
in the south is going, if you're looking at it from above, it's going counterclockwise, so right to left. So that sun would be going from where it is, the yellow between Africa and South America. It then would be where that green is. And this is what Vlad was saying, new perspective, which I told you in DMs, where he was saying, you know, if you were in the, where that green line is that I put setting, you know, that doesn't really look like it's like southwest. Like that almost looks like it's like directly south, or it even looks like it's southeast a little bit even. So that's why, you know,
Right.
he was, but that might mean like, that might be the positioning of the United States though, you know, like what actual like position it is, you know, like, in terms of its exact like lineup.
Not
'Cause to
looking
me,
across at the sun. You're seeing it set. You're still seeing it in the sky and set, you know, so it's still setting south of west because what you see in the sky, just like, you know, it doesn't have to go all the way down for you to see it set. It's going to set for you because you see it in the sky and then it goes out of your range of view, just like any flat earth will tell you, you know. You don't have to look across all those continents to see the sun in a 2D way, is what I'm saying. You're seeing it up in the air, up in the sky. So it's going to give you the illusion of it setting, you know, going below the surface of the earth way before it gets to that point.
no, I think I know what you mean. I think I know what you're saying, because there is a difference between like if, you know, if the sun is whatever, however high above, if you know, if it even is a physical thing, but either way, like let's just say, I'm just gonna say 10,000 miles, just throw a number, right? Let's say the sun was at 10,000. I do hear what you're saying. Like it's actually at 10,000 from an orthographic, you know, God's view, you know, in this, in that hypothetical, and it actually is moving. Whereas in your perspective, you're seeing it set very low, and it looks like it's only like a few degrees off the horizon, but obviously it's way up in the air. So yeah, no, I do hear you, but I still I don't really have a full reconciliation for this other than moving the continents around. But it just doesn't it seem like though. I mean, even with what you're saying, like is that really southwest? That green line that says setting, is that southwest for someone in California?
Yeah, that's it. Well, he was talking about it would go way out west. It would go way further west when it sets. These circles aren't accurate for the path of the sun. It would be a much wider loop.
Well, all right, but I mean, the thing is, the tropics, like, it's not going to go any wider than the tropics, right? Unless you're saying it does, because like right now the sun is whatever. I mean, we're not at the solstice yet, so it must be at 21 or 2 degrees, whatever it is right now. You know, so it can't be further than 21 from the equator, right? Or
Right, you're right. Yeah, getting a 3D rendering of it. Well, this is also a little different than his map, but still, yeah, getting a better 3D graphic of it, explaining it, and I'll play this conversation for him and see what he says. It's pretty late. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, I say maybe I'll go get him right now and see if he wants to come on and talk. But it's kind of late.
That would be cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just the thing is that I don't. That's the question, is like exactly how the continents are laid out, you know. But
Yeah, and exactly how we see the sun and how much of that is even like, you know, the ballers say, is it being refracted to some degree? Are we seeing, is there a dome effect of some sort going on with the sky and how we see the sun setting? I don't know.
I mean, it would have been reflected on a flat Earth because the atmosphere exists, but you would also additionally need this magic bendy light sphere of vision refraction, which would have to drastically bend it to mimic what you would see on the globe, basically. So
All kinds of sun is already below the Earth when we're seeing it set. That's magical, bendy sunlight right there.
yeah, how
How
is
is that-
bendy used as like against like?
Yeah, exactly. That's the globe claim on everything about everything. Is there's magical bendy light making it look like it's this way, but it's not really this way.
I can explain. It's because we have a gradient of density in the atmosphere, which is vertical, and that will slightly raise the sun above the horizon when it's setting. But flat earthers need refraction not only in the opposite direction, but they also need it horizontally where you have no gradient. And here's where's the magic part. Like on the AE, like on the AE, you can have different people looking all south and they all see the same stars. So you would need at one of those places, like let's say in Australia, let's say you see the sun south, even though it's at South America right now. That would need basically 180 degrees bending light to explain.
You'd have to explain it, I guess, what you actually, maybe with a picture.
So in on the AE map, Antarctica is a ring. It's a ring around the Earth.
You're going AE, bendy, outer ring, but we're not really talking about AE. I mean, New Perspective would agree that there's all kinds of problems.
AE map is done. That's not really the map.
Oh, okay.
What would you?
We're talking about
what
the
would you
dual
guys
pole
say?
mostly.
What would you guys say to the notion that supposedly the Earth has been traversed throughout the equator round the pole? You know, that this has been documented really well, but we've got this problem of a lack of documentation as far as north-south, or the greatest circle, or whatever they refer to. Apparently, there's been a couple of satellites or some sort of space expedition that they've gone north to south once or twice, but apparently they do it every day of the week, east to west. But the dual probe represents a massive problem for the east to west. Now, I could imagine, though, that these stories of people traversing sort of east to west being made up in order to reinforce the globe paradigm.
No, it's not necessary. It works just like the globe. I'll repost the thing, but it's just going around the poles. East is going around the poles. West is going around the poles. It's all about the compass. This is the graticule they use to plot everything.
But
yeah,
so dude, like if you were to travel from the left hand side of that image to the right hand side of that image and go up and around, and you're on a boat, that is a massive. I mean, I could get with the notion that
exactly
the currents and the winds are fierce, and you're like, because like just like the complex argument of like you're in a plane and you don't really know what's going on the outside. You know, you're just being carried along in the wind. You can't tell. I could imagine currents of water just like literally going hundreds of kilometers, and it all just appears to be normal to you. But that's tens of thousands of kilometers to traverse the upper echelon and the bottom echelon.
Well, what he's saying is it's actually the same, which I know sounds weird, but here I'm posting this real quick that I've just drew lines on that same. So, okay, that line on the top, the green that's going like around that way, that is like essentially like a small circle route, like I was saying before. So if you were to stay at like 30 degrees latitude and you were to stay at 30, that is somewhat equivalent. I mean, it kind of starts at the equator and goes up, but that is a small circle route. And you might think that looks a lot longer than what the Pacific Ocean is on the globe, but keep in mind that on a globe, half of the ball is the Pacific Ocean, the blue side of the ball. So that green line that looks like it's going across the whole thing, well, imagine that there's something roughly the same size as all these continents, the whole space of those continents, but it's all blue. It's all the Pacific Ocean. So that green line would just be traveling the Pacific. It's about one lane.
The Pacific Rim. It's just the Pacific Rim. The oceans stretch out, and that's the blue side of the ball. And you could never go on the international date line with the circumpolar navigation that they've never been able to do, because they'd have to go from pole to pole, straight up from the North Pole and appear down south and go straight up to the North Pole. They've never been able to do that because it can't be done, because the ocean is just surrounding us. And that's how they get away with it. They make it seem like it's connected, that the straight line that goes up. Like, look at what I posted, Rixie, with all the directions. It's kind of busy, but that shows it. If you're going around the North Pole clockwise, you're going to be going west, right? Even if you're going around the top, you're still going west, right?
Yeah.
And then it's exact same coordinate, point for point. It's exactly the same. In fact, This is what they use for all of the coordinate system shipping routes. This is what they use. And then they tell you it's a globe. So the globe doesn't answer anything.
Yeah, I don't know how to respond. Does anyone else want to respond to that? I can't really sort of.
Let's just say it was. Let's just say this is what it actually is.
One
and then they make you think it's a globe. It all has to work point for point the same.
My issue is that if you're on a boat and you're in the past, like lower technology, right, and you're traversing such long distances, you need to make pit stops to resupply. Now, either you're traversing that distance really quickly because the current's dragging you along and the wind's dragging you along. I'm happy to entertain that, but is that the aspect that you're referring to? Because it can't just be all
it's the exact same. No, I'm saying it's the exact same distance that you would travel if it were a globe or if it were this. There's no difference whatsoever. Point for point, it's a transform, right? The globe is just a transform of this graticule, exact same coordinate system, nothing different as far as distance go, no fast waters, no speeding up necessary.
Excuse me. I've got a dumb question because I'm not really familiar. But what's holding the water from going over the edges?
We still have on the outer, the same idea. It would be like that. You don't have Antarctica surrounding you 360 degrees. You have a shore, just like any water needs. You would have speculatively, theoretically, you would have ice around you. Well, if you could dead reckon, maybe you could find it. But no one dead reckons. They follow a compass heading, which takes you around
all it
the
would
north
be
or
is
south.
yeah, like look, what is it? We require the heat in order for liquid like water to become either a solid or a liquid. Presumably, if the sun is traversing the upper and the lower aspects of that map really fast, it's not going to have enough time to heat up the water. It's going to be solid all the way around. It's just an ice wall complex at that point.
Yeah, if the sun doesn't melt if there's just like at the poles, we have ice when the sun doesn't, and it melts when the sun is around there for longer. It melts at the North Pole, and then the South Pole as well will melt away a little bit. So if you're following that logic, then if the sun has like 8,000 mile stretch, so 8,000 miles out from where the sun goes, there would be ice around us still. Just it's not Antarctica.
In my opinion, the equator, I already can see what you're talking about, how it would explain the Pacific. But for me, the equator is still the biggest issue. If you are on the equator and you travel west or travel east, according to this map, you basically travel in a straight line. And at some point you would reach the edge. So
sorry, go ahead.
At other latitudes, this would work because you would be curving without even knowing that, because the direction the compass is pointing would be curving along with you. But on the equator, it wouldn't be curving.
You could think you're on a ball still. You could still think you're on a ball going around a pole, just like you're on a ball, but you're just on the flat water like we know water is.
No, but I think he's saying, like, if you were to circle, like, in this one, here, sorry, I'll just post it again. I know I just posted it, but just so we know which one I'm talking about, because I was going to say this too. I think what he's saying is he understands the idea of circumnavigating at a particular latitude line and staying on that latitude line, the equivalent of a small circle route, and how that's equivalent to like those two green pathways essentially. But I think what he's saying, like I drew those red ones where over on the east side of the equator, you have a red circle, west side of the equator, and then at the prime meridian at the very bottom and top. Now you were saying that, there's no circumnavigation north to south, so that would, that's never happened. But I think he's just saying if you went directly west on the equator and you stayed on the equator, you would not be making a curved path. You'd be making a straight path. On a globe, it's straight, and on this, it's straight. The equator's straight, which is what the stars do and everything else. It's really what it has to be on a planar Earth. The AE map doesn't work at all at the equator, which we've talked about for years. But nonetheless, in terms of this, he's just saying if you stayed on the equator and kept going,
the dead reckoning. Yeah.
Reckoning, yeah.
Then
but New Perspective has his answer for that, and I have some thoughts too, but I don't.
Yeah, he said that, and I talked to him about this because I played him, I made a recording of all of us talking about his stuff and sent him recordings of us talking about each time it came up. And yeah, he said there's buoys there that'll redirect you to begin with. There's buoys that direct you everywhere, but you're going to follow your compass heading to begin with. You're going to go according to that, your coordinate system. That's what you would follow, especially if you're in deep ocean water like that. There's also vessels out there that are just parked there, Navy vessels that are all lined up way out west. So I guess you could run into them maybe.
But according to this map, if you were traveling on the equator and staying on the equator, the compass would be showing that you are traveling west or that you are traveling east all the time.
Circle around the north would be west. Circle around the south. It's just the coordinate system.
No,
the
equator is a straight line.
You would follow the compass the same exact way.
Yeah, the equator is a straight line. It's not a circle.
You want a dead reckon on the equator. That's something that doesn't happen on the globe either. Is the argument? You don't do that. You follow your compass heading. You go around one way or the other.
Are you saying nobody's ever? Hold on. Are you saying nobody's ever circumnavigated right on the equator on the globe, or just in reality and stayed on it right under the sun type of deal?
If this is how it actually is, you wouldn't be able to. You would just go north or south.
Okay, so
or you would run into those Navy vessels. You would run into those Navy vessels, or the outer ponders, or outer ice, or something.
Yeah, so Embo, I think what's being discussed, I can't speak for everybody else. Maybe somebody out there is talking about a Pac-Man, but I personally have my view on that. I'm not really willing to accept that that's true unless it actually was shown to be true, like in reality, because it's such a sci-fi sort of portal, black hole kind of concept, and like a black hole. And so, anyways, I have my thoughts on it, but I'm not asserting that. I'm not really asserting that this is the map either. I mean, I do think it's a two-pole system, but like in terms of what the map is, New Perspective has his view, but I think New Perspective and I probably are on the same page where if this is the case, there would not necessarily be some Pac-Man thing, but there would have to be some kind of limitation only at the equator, at that spot. Like if you want to call it an anomaly, maybe, I don't know if New Perspective would call it that or not, an anomaly or something where you either couldn't progress forward. Now, there is that story of Amelia Earhart. She was trying to fly west, and she was trying to show up in Indonesia, and she crashed. Who knows if that's linked to this or not? And the whole Howland Island, it's called Baker Island and Howland Island, which are apparently on the equator, going directly west. And there's ideas that you can't go past those islands. Like you can go there for tourist. I'm not saying it's the case because I don't know, dude. That's a big thing to be hiding, like in terms of some region that you can't travel and that they redirect you north or south. But I guess I hear what you're saying, that there is an implication that something would have to occur. You'd either have to be a barrier that you couldn't continue or a Pac-Man thing. So I don't think New Perspective or anyone is necessarily claiming there's a Pac-Man. So I guess for this to be the case, New Perspective, would you agree there would have to be some kind of blockage or effect or anomaly that we, in that region?
I cut out for a sec, but yeah, technically, let's say this is the Graticule, and it would be all of the. But you're not going to have like a blow.
Hold on, you might have to start over. You did cut out again.
Bad mic.
So if this is actually how it looks, and that's the way it's used, there's no technicality that you can point out that would work for a globe that doesn't work for this.
I just pointed out
the one we're talking about, traveling on the equator going west.
I pointed out one, and he doesn't address it. He just repeats that there's none, as if this was supposed to debunk it.
Well, it's an ice wall, is what I gathered. Or
no, but he said before there might be ships that might not let you pass. He said that. You didn't hear him when he said that?
Yeah, there's vessels. There's Navy vessels. You can look up Navy vessel tracker and see a bunch of them lined up in the west. I think I cut out, but let's just say that the Graticule, the two-pole Graticule, looking at it all as like one flat surface, whether it is that or not doesn't even matter. That's how they practically use it. So there's no technicality you could point out that would work for a globe that doesn't work for the way it's used. That's just the way they use it.
I just pointed out one. The
This is a technicality. Sorry, go ahead. This is one of them, which is traveling on the equator and ending up on, in Indonesia. If you keep going, when the sun's on the equinox, you follow right underneath the sun, the GP. You go right to that Baker and Howland. It's called Howland and Baker Island. You can go there as a tourist, actually. I mean, you can go there, but if you kept going past those islands, what happens?
Well, yeah, but you'd have to show that that's actually happening, or some like because this is like the way coordinate systems work. It's a point for point transform. You can transform. It makes you think you're on a globe. That doesn't mean you're on a globe.
It is happening. The equator, it's not some kind of hypothetical, it's not an abstract route. The equator is one of great circles on the Earth, and the great circles are famous for being used as navigation routes because they are the shortest path between 2 points. So there are ships every single day traveling approximately at the equator, circumnavigating throughout the Pacific Ocean between Americas, for example, and Australia or Asia. This is a great circle. It's actually used for navigation.
I have questions. Of course, everybody's going to, if they don't have questions, then something's wrong. But one of them is with meteorology. Been tracking major storms.
I don't know.
For
Your perspective, I don't know if he's going to respond. His mic might be out. I
think. Yeah, my headphones keep cutting. I have something for you on meteorology though that fits with the dual pole. My headphones keep cutting out. But yeah, if it's the Graticule we use, great circle routes, shipping routes, all of that is just exactly the same as pretending you're on a globe. There's no difference whatsoever. I don't know how else to say it. That's just what they use it. That's how they use it. So you can see the flat map all at once with 2 poles.
And the thing is, Embo, it's only right on the equator would be I think part of the idea. It's only right on the equator. If you're north or south of it, you know what I mean? So it's just within that 1 degree. But yeah, I mean, unless there's a Pac-Man, I would say there would have to be something either blocking or some kind of, I was using the word anomaly, might not be the best word, but some kind of blocked off area that they don't let us travel. Or something.
When do you ever follow the equator without using your compass?
I don't understand the question.
When do you travel on the equator without using GPS or a compass?
Yeah, your coordinate system and your compass would either make you go north or south, depending on where you're heading, according to your compasses, and it would be point for point exactly the same. You could pretend that you're on the transform and makes you think you're on a ball, but it's exactly the same point for point, whether it's a great circle, whether it's a shipping route. There's no dead reckoning going outside of the compass heading. You just don't do that.
If you are on the equator,
not on a ball either,
and you use a compass, then the compass is going to show you that you're traveling west or that you're traveling east.
You would just follow it straight west, is what he's saying.
Yeah. Well, it would like you were talking about the Quran having 2 east and 2 west. There's the cardinal directions, right? The east, west, north, and south, which only works on this as well, by the way. Doesn't work on a ball. And then we have the traveling around the north or around the south. Do I have to post that again? I'll find it if I have to. It's that your clockwise or counterclockwise would determine your east and west depending on your compass heading. It works exactly like a ball would.
What's throwing
or actually, the ball works exactly like this does. This is probably what they started with, if it's actually the fields that they use. And then see how I just put in there, Embo? If you're going around the compass, if you're using your compass and the compass is using a magnetic declination, it's going to take you around the North Pole, and you're still going west, going around the top. And you're still going west if you go around the bottom, right? And you could think you're on a ball the whole time if you want.
Okay, what happens when you are at the equator at 0 degrees latitude and you go west or you go east?
Well, if you dead reckon, right? Because if you're following your compass, west is going to take you around the pole, right? So if you're using your compass,
no, it's not.
It's going to take you around the pole just the way it would on a ball.
According to this map, west is at the west means traveling on the equator. According to this map that we posted, because
Right. So
the line.
that's part of the trick. That's part of the trick of the whole thing of it being thought of as a ball. Is you will never be able to dead reckon left of it and end up on the right side. But you wouldn't anyway because you're following your compass. Maybe
Yeah,
you would hit the naval ships. Maybe there's naval ships out there or buoys that would not allow you to go further. But you would have to show proof that somebody does that.
the problem isn't that there would be something stopping you. The problem is that we know this is happening because the GPS and the compasses are showing those sailors that they are traveling approximately by the equator. It isn't that they are traveling some other routes that, you know, in GPS it shows that they are no longer at 0 degrees, but somewhere else. It shows them that they are staying on the equator and yet nothing happens.
This is what they use for shipping, for all of travel. This is the graticule they follow, right? They think they're on a ball, but it still takes you around east and west as if you're traveling around the equator, right? But it's either going north or south. It's the exact. This is a coordinate system transfer. Even if it was a ball, it would work. It would work exactly the same.
So can
There's
I
no
ask
difference.
a question? Let's say during the solstice and you were in, let's say, Ecuador or in South America, and you were looking at the sunrise during solstice, and you use your compass, the angle, the angle between the sun and the north should be 90 degrees, shouldn't it?
I don't even know what you're talking about necessarily. You have to draw a picture.
No, just imagine the sun
The
is
sun should rise.
rising.
The sun should rise at 60 degrees.
Solstice, the sun is rising over Africa somewhere, and you're in South America, and you see the sunrise, and you take out the compass, and the compass is pointing towards north. The direction of the sun should be at 90 degrees to north at that position, but on the dual pole, it doesn't. Because then it would be the angle would be less than 90 degrees, though, wouldn't it?
It should be 60 degrees when it rises, not 90.
Not at the equator or during solstice, because then the sun is directly above the equator.
I'm going to play this conversation for E1, and maybe I'll be able to just record our conversation of him responding. But he says that the sun never actually travels straight on that center line. It's either a little bit north or a little bit south of that line. It never comes up straight through that line anyway, ever.
Yeah, but that's just a tiny part of a degree. It's less than a degree, though, isn't it?
So it would work the same exact way, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's a 1 or 2 degrees wrong according to the equator, it wouldn't make any major effect on what the compass would show you.
Well, anyway, yeah, the sun rises and sets the same exact way you see it with any transform. Even the AE transform, surprisingly, works for a lot of these things, even though it doesn't make any sense for the 24-hour sun and all that. But if you have a coordinate system transform, and I think this is the original coordinate system because it actually shows the magnetic field and the electromagnetic fields working in symbiosis. And this is what they use for all practical purposes. So if you want to think of it as a ball, you can use that transform and just think you're on a ball.
Where did you get that from? Where did you get that from? That claim that this map is used for all practical purposes. For navigation, the most famous map is the Mercator map. For, let's say, radio, for sending radio signals.
You can make an absolute statement out of what I'm saying, but I'm saying this is what they use for the plotting the stars with the four corners and for navigation and all that. Mercator map's used as well. There's practical ways to use the Mercator map, but you never have like a ball Earth globe as a practical way of doing anything because it's a ball.
Actually, I'm
I think
not
they have
sure.
a globe in the cockpit of a plane, and this doesn't make any sense because it doesn't. We're not on a ball according to the way this looks. There's never a ball. There's never a globe used. It's just a convenient way of. It's a convenient way of psyoping everybody for the last 500 years, but also a convenient way of looking at it with being able to spin it and all that.
Mm. Actually, the star charts, they aren't this projection that you're showing. Most of them are actually AE maps. So that's pretty funny. They are AE maps of the sky.
So AE maps of the sky, presumably 2. So if you need to put 2 of them together, do you not end up with a dual pole sort of proposition?
Not really, because then you wouldn't have one single disk. You would have 2 disks connected together, like touching each other at the edge, at the tangent. But here you have it connected into one single circle, so you have to kind of distort it in a way. You have to flatten the circles out. If you look at this map that was posted, the circles of latitude, they aren't perfectly straight, they are ovals.
Yeah, there's we were discussing that earlier, New Perspective and I. See what I just posted? And there's tons of these. There's a star chart in the north and the south, the celestial planisphere. And you can pull up planispheres. It is like 2 AEs, just like what you said. It's like two AEs, one for the north, one for the south, is how the stars are mapped.
Yeah.
That you have these translucents that they're not perfect circles. You have these translucents you put over the star wheels. There's a north and a south, and they move separately, and they converge and diverge. And E was able to plot them so that he made like these perfect circles moving so that the stars actually end up, and it actually saves you having to do some of the amplitude with the calculations and all that. So if he's right about the way the stars move, it can't be a ball for sure, is one of the things, but that would be very, very interesting.
Yeah, but the 2 circular star charts have to blend in the middle at the equator. So that's what you and I were discussing earlier. And I was, like how that's actually occurring. Because what you posted there, obviously 2 circles are, but actually the way are you saying they overlap?
Let me explain this. The reason they overlap is because there's stars on the north wheel that are in the south, and there's stars on the south wheel that are in the north. Those stars don't actually go 360 degrees around, but they're on that wheel because you can see them and you can use them for navigational purposes of triangulation and stuff like that. So the only stars that are actually only in the north or the south are in that inner circle. You see the inner circles? Those are the actual stars we use in the north or the south, and they don't overlap. But the outer edge stars are going to line up with each other because there's stars in the north that are on the south wheel and stars in the south that are on the north wheel. And they line up perfectly. And when they overlap, they sync up with the way he's got this. So it's not stars coming in from both places overlapping. It's just the stars that are represented on each wheel that need to be represented because you can see them from the north or from the south. So that those inner circles, those inner circles that is the celestial equator. So basically, there is no official sun equator. Like the sun doesn't go around in a circle, but the stars do. And there's something called the celestial equator, right? And there's 2 of them that funnel in on each other, just like electromagnetic fields do. So there's only a celestial equator, not an official sun circling equator, because it goes either north or south.
So just as far as that image that you posted, which is I don't know, it's kind of cool. I like the GIF. So obviously those star trails are not crossing over; they're converging into there's a compression point at the equator.
Yeah, the only stars that are actually in the north or south are inside that circle in the middle. That circle in the middle on the Weems and Plath, like the official star wheels. That's what it says on there. It says celestial equator, and then they'll have the outer edge stars, represented, so they're not literally overlapping. They're just on there to represent what you can see from that vantage point.
Yeah, principally I understand the diagram.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, there's got to be these are not circular forms. These are they're ovalized, or because those stars are not crossing paths, obviously, in the sky. They are compressing at the center point, which would explain then. Just one sec, that would explain the convergence and divergence towards the east and the west. Then.
Yeah, this is like they actually have to be on the same disk to move in sync with each other. They have to be on a disk of some sort. A conical disk, if you like, or whatever, but they have to stay. They have to stay in the same relation to each other in the north and the south, but they don't stay in the same relation to each other with northern stars compared to southern stars, because they converge and run parallel through the celestial equator, and then they diverge and go out 360 degrees away from each other, and that debunks the globe better than any flat Earth proof ever. If this is the case. E1's been saying this forever. You can see it in the sky.
Let's see if I understand you. Did you say that the angular separation between the stars are changing as they move?
In the north and the south, right? There's stars in the north that move away from the stars that they were closer to in the south of the north. They converge, run parallel through the celestial equator, diverge, run out 360 degrees away from each other, then converge again in perfect sync.
So doesn't that mean
just like
an
electromagnetic
separation? Yeah, but shouldn't the angular separation between the stars then change?
Yes, they do. In the north and the south, they do. But the way that and I was talking about this last time about the way that the plotting works, they base everything on the plotting on the prime meridian. So everything is about the amount of degrees from the prime meridian you are. So the way that it's all calculated, you can only plot one star at a time to begin with. There's no tool that exists that shows you the stars like this, where you can see both circles with the actual name of the star, where it should be over the the GP over the land. Like this could be used by naval people as a practical tool that doesn't exist as far as we can tell, and that's at least that we're privy to. Like somebody must have this somewhere, if this is the way it works.
It's actually mapped relative to the first point of Aries, not the prime meridian. And the latitude, so the declination in the sky, that's how it's called, it doesn't depend on any meridian at all, because it's from north to south. It depends on the celestial equator.
And he was saying when you do your plotting, you only use one wheel at a time. You're not going to use the north and the south, right? And in the north, you're either going to be a certain amount of degrees off from the prime meridian as a starting point, either east or west or whatever your thing is. And then you have to use these translucent overlays to get your amplitude and correct for that. Use a scientific calculator. And that's just to get your position in relation to one star, right? That doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the stars and where they are in relation to that plotting. Then you have to go back to the drawing board and get another star that you're trying to plot for and get your relation to that. It's like a painstaking process just to get your position as far as your relation to whatever star it is. But this would allow you to say, okay, I'm going to call up my friend in Australia and see if the star on these wheels is synced up so he can see the same star that's on these wheels that should be over him when I'm seeing the star in the north that's over me. That would be a way of actually falsifying this.
You're talking about celestial navigation right now. In celestial navigation, you don't do plotting on star charts like this at all. They are only used to know what's the layout of the sky. So, like, for example, you know, what are the how it's called, the constellations, but you're doing plotting on a sheet of paper. No, not on something like this. You'd get very big distortions if you were to do it on something like this, because you have to draw circles of equal altitude, and this is an A map. An A map, it distorts circles. It makes them not circles anymore. So you'd get very significant distortions, and you wouldn't be able to navigate like that.
Yeah, that's what those translucent overlays they give you with Wiens and Platt's star charts. They have to correct for there's a distortion, and they're not perfect circles, right? It doesn't work like that. Even with, and that's why they call it an oblate spheroid, right? Because the stars are actually circling in an oblate spheroid type fashion. A magnetic field doesn't have perfect circles.
No,
Like,
they
look at
don't. The only thing is that the angle would change slightly due to oblateness.
Yeah, that's what the if like let's just say that it's actually an electromagnetic field we're looking at that works just like an electromagnetic field works with two fields, funneling in on each other. Let's just say that is the case. Well, it has an oblateness to the circles, like you can see in an electromagnetic field. So if they're going to, claim the ball is a certain shape, it would make sense to claim it's an oblate spheroid because that's what the magnetic field manifests as.
Well, if there was a strong electromagnetic field, that would change the polarization of the light from stars and the sun. So depending on where it is and from what angle you are, the polarization of the light would be different. So I see that's just one of the problem claiming it could be an electromagnetic field.
Yeah, and supposedly a magnetic field wouldn't work the same over a ball magnet. I've got to go here soon, but yeah, it wouldn't work the same with a ball magnet type thing with the pole on the top and the bottom. It needs to work with more like a bar magnet field over a level plane. That's just the way it seems like it has to work.
But still, the magnetic field would polarize the light depending on the angle from the light traveling through it and the strength of the magnetic field. I suppose even in your model, in your model, is the electromagnetic field stronger towards the pole, or is it even all around?
Well, there's the magnetic field here on Earth, and then there's an electromagnetic field above the magnetic field. And they're doubled, both of them, right? They seem to be in concert.
An electromagnetic field? You mean like the ionosphere?
No, I'm talking about like the star field, the field that stars run on, right? It's a doubled, just like the book I just pointed. That's what we're seeing, right? It's the manifestation of an electromagnetic field that we're looking at in the sky. And that's what the stars are connected to, what the sun runs through, and everything else.
The thing is, then we know that lights are polarized by magnetic and electromagnetic fields, so we should see that quite easily, and it should change as the stars and the moon and the planets move. The polarization of the light should change accordingly. They don't.
I'm not sure exactly what the proper answer to that would be, but I know the electromagnetic field has a lot to do with the spreading of the light, according to what E1 says about the way that the light works. And the reason that we get a lot of light everywhere is because the electromagnetic field does have an effect on the light. So I'll ask him. I'm going to play this conversation for him and get some answers. But I've got to go because it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Just like I said, like polarization is one thing that magnetic fields do to light.
Yep. But I got to go, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Uh, sorry, I was talking there and I had my mic off. So, Stefan, does the Earth's electromagnetic field affect the light in your sort of
No, it's
understanding?
too weak. It's too weak. But I mean, having a magnetic field, being able to move the stars and the suns and the planets around, it would need to be quite strong, though.
What if they're yeah, but you're assuming they're big balls up there? I mean, they could be made of superfluid plasma.
No, they can't.
Absolutely.
Because
Why not?
if that was the case, we would observe it by the radiation coming from it.
You would observe the electromagnetic field emerging from the planetary body?
If it was like a superfluid, oh, definitely yes.
If it was a superfluid, I don't know what you mean by that.
I was just giving you an example. If they're not, visible. Hold on, dude. If they're not, I was just giving one kind of explanation or one idea. You don't have to latch onto that per se. I'm just, what my point is that you were saying there would have to be a very powerful field. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying if you're assuming that they're huge rock balls, that is a different concept than if they're like luminous light objects. They could be made of helium. They could be made of something else that I just said superfluid. But my point is that it doesn't necessarily have to be the strength that you're assuming if you're assuming that they're huge rocks, they're huge balls, physical balls.
Let me just ask you one simple question. Since you said it could be this or the other. How do you explain the aftermath in Jupiter when the Schumacher levy split up and crashed into it?
How do you account for how do you account for something that is basically just provided information from an authority? I don't know. How do you account for anything like that? How do you account to, I don't know. How do you answer that?
So straight into denial. I see. Well, there's plenty of images.
It's not denial, sir. It's just that, like, it's something that none of us can necessarily experience or like provide proof of. It's the ultimate deferral to authority that something happened according to some space station flying around up there. How are any of us meant to entertain anything like that?
No, it was even imaged from like the CAC and the VLB Earth-based telescopes.
Yeah, Earth-based telescopes, like telescopes that the average man cannot get a hold of or observe for themselves. I don't know, how do you entertain these ideas?
Well, the strange thing is, well, it's really old now. I have to get a new one, but I got a reasonable telescope, 8-inch. And on good days, like if I study Jupiter, I can see several of the moons. And if I keep track over days, I can see the moons orbiting. I can see the gas bands on Jupiter. And it, strangely enough, looks very similar to the much better quality images taken by huge telescopes compared to mine.
What size telescope?
It's an 8-inch Dobsonian. So
8-inch?
8-inch, yes. So
I don't think anyone necessarily disputes the image that we necessarily see up in the sky, right? No one really we dispute the nature of it. We agree upon that we see it. We see moons. I think there's only one moon actually. Those are satellites. So I'll take a discrepancy there in the terminology. But so you can see the satellites floating around Jupiter. Like, I mean, you're just seeing lights. And like other things, like they're just wrapping around another image in the sky.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking for, as I can see the Jupiter quite well, not nearly as well as the big telescopes can do, but I see the same thing. And they have much better resolution, and they actually did take images from the Schumacher levy crashing into the Jupiter and how that affected the gas of the Jupiter.
Did you see them, like, with your satellite? With your telescope?
See,
this is the proposition being put forward. You're making a leap of faith at that point that the images associated with this a satellite crashing into Jupiter is necessarily like what you see through the telescope. There's a leap of faith going on there.
There's a leap of faith of a comet that was calculated quite a long time before it hit Jupiter. And they knew when it was going to happen. They positioned their telescopes to it, and they could see it crash into, and they see the aftermath in the atmosphere of the Jupiter.
Okay, well,
and yeah. But what you are saying, now, Rick, is that since I couldn't see it myself in my puny 8-inch telescope, then whatever all the other giant telescopes were showing us could be sort of a lie or faked. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, because you're making a leap of faith. There's a jump there between your perception, what you're observing through your telescope, and then what's being shown to you from something else. Kind of looks the same. I get it that. But I mean, what would you say to the notion of some of the observations that they're saying about the what's that new sort of there's a comet or something that's entered into our solar system that they're observing, and it's speeding up and slowing down? Are those things accurate as well? Like,
you mean
it's speeding up and yeah.
As it gets closer to the sun, the gravity will pull stronger, and it accelerates. And then when it moves away from the sun, the gravity is pulling it back, so it slows down again.
Is that all they're saying? I thought they were saying it's like moving unusually. This is, and what I'm trying to get at here, like at the larger scope of the topic, is, you know, they make these true to sort of dynamics that they found this comet and it hit the Jupiter at the right time, and they took images of it, and they so-called witnessed all of this stuff. And then you're seeing other objects in the solar system that are speeding up and slowing down. According to from what I've understood, it's kind of a case of it's an aberration as far as why it's speeding up and slowing down.
No, it's quite normal. I mean, quite a few of when they study a follow the path of like comets coming toward the sun and move away again. The trajectory of the comet can be calculated beforehand because they know how close it is to the sun, the speed, and then they use the gravity of the sun. And you see that the comet's orbiting the sun speeds up going to the sun and slows down going away. And this atlas is just one specific type of comet, which is interstellar. It's not from our solar system.
So you're saying if I go look up articles and then they wouldn't tell, I mean, you seem to be suggesting that it's all attributed to our understanding of gravity. But from what I've understood, like briefly skimming through it, they're basically saying that this thing is moving as an aberration. It doesn't make sense within your understanding of gravity. But you're saying that it is.
There is a lot of speculations among this. So we'll just have to wait until they got the proper numbers and do the proper.
No, but like, dude, like it's either doing something that is normal or it's not doing something that's normal. And with our devices that we have, with the accuracy that we have in our observational, you know, technologically know-how, either it's doing it or it's not doing it. And from what I've understood and read, it's saying that it's not comporting itself with a normative sort of gravitational field. It seems to be moving up and speeding up and slowing down. It's unusually shaped. Like, there's a whole bunch of other things. Like, I don't know.
So where did you read this? In papers or something like that? Or?
It's definitely not scientific papers. It's just generally what the what would you call it? Pop science is releasing about this. I'll go look it up if I need to justify it. But you're saying it's speeding up and slowing down specifically because of gravity and their understanding of it. I suppose I need to go find an article that supports my idea that they're saying that it's like artificial, or it seems to speed up and slow down beyond
But just a quick check in the astronomy It says that the initial speed when it was discovered was about 220 thousand kilometers an hour. At perihelion is about 246, which is the closest that it gets to the sun. So yes, it did speed up towards the sun.
Yeah, I suppose I really don't have enough information to litigate the issue at large. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in.
But back to the original starting point was that, okay, at least what they tell us is that they took images of how the Schumacher levy broke up and crashed into Jupiter, and that we can see the plumes in the surface of Jupiter. So doesn't that tell us, if that's true, doesn't that tell us that it seems like it's an orb or some gaseous materials and not just some holographic kind of thing, or
Are you suggesting this because you've got two different sources of information seemingly backing one another up? So is it like sort of earthly bound telescopes observing Jupiter? They saw this little sort of anomaly, like a dot appear on Jupiter, and that coincides with the satellite claims